Yeah, look, I gotta move different on this mission. The thoughts of a nigga with the vision, thoughts of a nigga with the dream. Drown them up, they
fucking with weed.
My niggas chase money like they picture on it. Money cash sound like a good dinner, don't it? Times rap by 10 bands and we live a life. Add it up 100 times till I get it right. Mama, they gon' say we ain't living right. But they the reason that we live this life. They the reason that we got these dreams. Trying to do it bigger than they ever seen. Get your stripes up, little man. I ain't talking about Adidas. My father is a
What's going on, y'all? What's going on, y'all? A little late night Astro breakdown. All right. I didn't think I had something in me to come back on live after the first live stream, but took me a little power nap. That motherfucker chart. Listen. Them 2-hour naps do way more than motherfucking sleeping for 8 hours. I don't know what the spiritual significance is behind that shit. A motherfucker sleep 9 hours, wake up feeling crazy. But them 2-hour Johns, something different. 2-hour Johns is something different. YouTube, what's good, YouTube? What's good, YouTube? What's up? 6 videos a day. I ain't playing with y'all niggas no more. All right? All signs in the 7th house. All right? Tap in, y'all. Tap in. You want to dive deeper into relationship influences, man, tap into the Signs Through the Houses series. I got Aries through Libra on YouTube right now in that 7th house. Tomorrow, we uploading Scorpio in the 7th house through Pisces. So you already know that's a whole different. It's going to start off crazy. Tomorrow. Talk about Scorpio in the 7th house. It's my Taurus risings. So shout out to all my Taurus risings. Been watching it and it's very good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, Amber Imani. All right. What's going on, YouTube? What's going on, everybody? So I posted earlier today. I made a post about the 7th house. All right. I made a post about the 7th house. And like I said, with everything going on in the world, all right, the passing of Kevin Samuels. At this point, with the shit I know, with all type of rituals that be worked in this matrix and gematria codes and all type of shit they do to play mind control, to program us and mind control us. Sometimes we can't even believe celebrity deaths. Some people might look at me like I'm being too much a conspiracy theorist or I'm looking too deep into things. But yeah, we as a people look too light. We look too light into things as far as how motherfuckers will shift things in society in order to program us. Think about it, y'all. The whole YouTube, the whole world talking about that shit right now. But what else is happening? The fact that he supposedly passed. Now, if he really passed away, my condolences and everything. He's sending that spirit, good, positive energy. But I just need y'all guys to understand. Look at the aftermath. Does it look like, I don't want to condense this to the black community, but does it look like, his quote unquote passing is bringing unity? Does it look like that? Or does it look like the opposite? Does it look like people in their feelings and their emotions projecting energy on top of each other, ideals, and people bitter about certain things and they saying things about him, people saying things about the black man, the black man coming at the black woman right now. So you guys we gotta kind of learn how to stay out the mix with certain things at times. You gotta learn how to sit back and observe things. You feel me? Because they'll have us caught up like a motherfucker and all that shit. All right. So I bring that up. I've been watching shout out to this radio personality, Kendra G. She has a relationship show where she got different people calling in, giving their background, talking about what they're looking for in a person, people looking to find a mate. So all of this shit just had me think about relationships the past week. And I'm like, okay, let's really dig into some more with relationships. Let's get more in depth. Now, if you've been watching me, All I've seen is astro breakdowns, but I'm not too much on social media right now. Yeah, like I didn't even want to do any. I'm actually happy that around that time, around the weekend, I was actually fasting and I was a little bit off of social media because I'm impulsive. So I would have just jumped on live and started talking my shit about that shit. But, you know, I'm glad I gave myself a chance to sit back. And that's how we always got to play things out when there's all type of shit, especially with celebrity deaths. That's how you always got to play things out. You got to give yourself a chance to sit back, peep game. You got to understand that's a whole nother world, you know? Celebrities, that's a whole nother world. That is a whole nother world, you know? You don't know what the fuck your favorite rappers, favorite actors, favorite influencers is motherfucking doing once they reach a certain, you know, plateau in their life. And that's not to say everybody sells out or joins the man or joins the people. But y'all got to understand when you reach a certain plateau, you know, they motherfuckers is reaching out to you. If you start making a certain amount of money right now, you will end up on certain list from the government. All right. So that's how it is, man. Just go back and watch The Matrix. The more fucking stronger Neo got, the more them agents got on his ass. The more they got on his ass. The more power, the more influence, you got to be able to understand what that comes with. You know, the message you put out there, the energy you put out there. So that's why you always want to be super genuine with everything you do, because you got to understand what you put out is what you attract. So I've had all this energy with relationships on my mind. We in Taurus season, right? We're dealing with Venus influences. Venus herself is in Aries. So a lot of us can have negative ways of looking at love right now, because when Venus is in Aries, that is a place where she struggles. So it is very common for a lot of us. It's very common for a lot of us to deal with our values in very negative ways, or have negative ways of looking at how we deal with our values, people, places, and things that we like and love. Our relationships, our perception of love can be wrong right now. It could be a little bit too individual. It could be a little bit too selfish. You feel me? So every placement, even though Venus is debilitated in Aries, every placement has its pros and cons. That's something y'all got to. I don't give a fuck. Listen. The astrologer, forgot his name, that came up with the degree theory system. He talking about all planets that's 18 degrees and shit is negative as hell. Nothing good come out that shit. I'm sorry. It's just, from what I know about spirituality, especially astrology, it's hard to believe that one energy only works in one way. There's no light and dark side to it. You know, there's no pro and con. There's no that shit don't play out like that with me when I deal with spirituality. Or I could show you two different Aries right now. I could show you two different Cancer moons right now. I could show you somebody that got the sun square the moon, two people that got the sun square the moon, and I'll show you the different ways that they dealing with it. This motherfucker, the friction of the sun square moon for this motherfucker is whooping their ass. But this motherfucker is embracing lessons, being more understanding of self. So, you know, it's light and dark side to everything. Where we tapping in with you, all I see is, you know, sorry, no, for real. Yeah. You know, you feel me? I got planets at 18, 17 degrees and shit. And those is some intense planets for me and shit too. You know, my Neptune and Uranus. But at the end of the day, from a real basic level, you know, life is really what you make it. I don't believe anybody brought any energies down here where they are just doomed in some type of shape or form. I don't think God in the universe work like that. So let's talk about this seventh house, y'all. Let's talk about these seven house lords, though. Okay. Now, that's what I'm breaking down right now in my that's what I'm breaking down right now. When I'm talking about the signs through the houses series. All right. You know, of course, when we get into astrology, we YouTube it and Google and searching. What does it mean to have the moon in this house, Neptune in this house, this, and the third? But once again, you know, when we look at the signs, when we look at the signs in the house, this is going to show us a whole lot of what we experience in that house, regardless of planets in that house. All right. the sign in the house is not what you're doing. These can be characteristics and traits that you develop in this area, right? But it ain't necessarily who you are. So I use me, for example. I'm a Libra. I'm a sun in the 9th house Libra. I got Aries in the 3rd house. All right. So my personality, my actions ain't Aries like, you know. I compromise, I balance, I mediate. I'm a bit more relatable than the Aries. All right. But my 3rd house, I had to deal with Aries energy in my 3rd house. So I had to deal with aggression, motherfucking bullies, confrontation, a little bit of friction with siblings here and there. You know, I had a pretty intense neighborhood. I was exposed to a lot of crazy shit at a young age with motherfucking Aries in that 3rd house, but definitely had to learn how to deal with defending myself, confrontation. You know, I had to learn with Aries in the 3rd house. Not everybody in the 3rd house relatable. People be having their own individual ways of doing shit. I can't think just because I feel like it's unfair that I'm getting bullied, that if I tell the bully, hey, this is not fair, you think that motherfucker gonna listen to me? No, that nigga gonna keep taking my motherfucking lunch money. So it's only one solution with this shit. I gotta jump into opposite energies. Got slapped the shit out of this nigga on Friday. So the signs ain't necessarily what you're doing, but the more you experience in that energy in that house, depending on your planets, depending on your placements, is how you're gonna feel like you need to adjust to what you're dealing with in a certain house. Now, when you look at the house lords, y'all, all right, this is one of the most important aspects of your chart. It's damn near more important than understanding the sun is in the house, the moon is in the house. You need to actually look, when you look at your sun in the 1st house, sun in the 5th house, sun in whatever house it's in, you need to look at your sun and be like, okay, my sun is here, but my sun is really a house lord for a certain house. Where's Leo at? Because yeah, I know I got the sun in my 9th house, but this is a lord for some. This sun that's in the 9th house is a ruler of a house in my chart. So I can't get too caught up on my sun playing out 9th house energies. I got to be aware that what my sun is experiencing in the 9th house is bringing that to whatever house Leo's in. Yeah, I got the moon in this house, the moon in that house, right? But whatever house I have Cancer in, I need to understand the house that wherever my moon is at, she's bringing energy to that house Cancer is in. You know, whatever house Mercury is in, he's bringing whatever he's going through, and whatever house you got Mercury in, he's bringing them experiences into the house Virgo is in and to the house Gemini is in. All right, so you keep doing this. You got Mars in this house. You know, whatever Mars is experiencing in this house is bringing what is experiencing into the house you have Aries, in the house you have Scorpio in. Venus, whatever house she's in, she's bringing what she's experiencing into the house Libra is in, into the house Taurus is in. So this starts to answer your question as far as how you deal with empty houses in the chart, how you deal with houses that don't have no planets in them. Yeah, I try to subscribe. You are cursed doom. Yeah. Facts. They says daily. But that's how you want to look at that shit. Now, the reason why these rulers are so important, because like I say this in every reading I do, you got to understand that, guys, we designed our chart. We designed this shit. All right. So, you know, you knew you was going to have the sun, moon, this and that here. You knew what friction you was going to deal with. We don't remember this shit because we go through different, we go through different motherfucking waves and frequency vibrations. So all that memory is wiped away, you know, unless you really in tune with your subconscious, or your ass get read in some type of shape or form, or you connecting to soul bodies out here that trigger your past life. And you start understanding that, oh shit, I was experiencing this, so I set up this contract here, blah, 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 blah. But whatever. We designed our chart, y'all. So you have to understand, our house lords is spiritual direction. This is why no matter what you experience in your life, you may always have a feeling or a thought to do something in a certain area of your life. If your first house is if your first house lord is in the 5th house, which is a creative house, no matter where you work, no matter what you experience in the 1st house, a part of your personal life is always going to feel like you need to be doing something in the 5th house. You need to be dealing with your form of creativity. You need to be on the stage showing your creativity. You need to be on camera. You need to be, bringing awareness to what you could do, or what or what wisdom you have, right? Or what light you have, what talent and creative energy you have. So this is what happens when we we get too content with the matrix. Everybody's motherfucking gifted, but obviously this realm is constructed to this shit is developed and constructed in a way for us not to connect to none of these motherfucking gifts. All right. So we ain't finna get caught up in that cycle of coming back to Earth over and over, because we keep hugging the matrix a little too much. We feel like we need to hug the matrix, the American dream, school systems, the way career is set up, and we feel like that's what's gonna help us prosper here, when we really gotta break free from all of that shit. We ain't trying to be when Neo woke up in that gooey ass ball of whatever the fuck he was in, when he took that pill and he woke the fuck up and seen all the other motherfuckers sleep, you gotta think about what the fuck going through his head at that moment. Like, damn, these niggas in these bubbles, they out here ain't thinking nothing about their gifts, ain't thinking nothing outside, ain't thinking abstract in no type of way. These niggas ain't thinking about spirituality. They that caught up in the matrix. These niggas is dead sleep. But my ability to think outside of this motherfucking matrix and not be condensed to programs or how things are supposed to go down in this realm, that's what helps you break free and move into more goddess-like energy. You feel me? Because you're not looking at that's what a god is. A god is the owner, is the ruler, the dictator of an experience, So this is why we are gods. That's why we are goddesses. We live within a universe. We live within a person. So when it comes into our own solar system, right? If we know the head is the first house, if we know we're dealing with the second house area here, third house area here, fourth house in the heart, if we know we're a solar system ourselves, that means people are living in us. We're taught that our blood cells, white blood cells, we're taught these are organisms. These are living things. So who you think is God to them? Who you think is God to them? Who you think them niggas is praying to? So just like how we know there's higher forces, best believe the different beings inside of you, different spirits inside of you and shit. The different forms of life inside of you, they understand there's something bigger than this too. So this is just life on different levels. And overall, the house lords, man, this is always, when it comes down to, of course I get a lot of clients that, they feel stuck with their purpose. They want to they book a reading to really understand what is it that they should be doing with their life, what their purpose is, what direction they should take with certain things. And, the way I help people find that out is by looking at, the lessons that they brought here. A lot of your lessons is gonna move you into purpose. People that embrace learning certain things about themselves, that moves them into purpose. So somebody that has a bad habit and they just want it to be a better person, you can't underestimate how much you breaking that bad habit is part of your spiritual duties here. You think you being an alcoholic, a shopaholic, or whatever, dealing with, a toxic relationship with drugs, a toxic relationship with a person, you think that these challenges developed in this lifetime. Don't nothing you really develop in a lifetime. We bring all this shit here. We bring all this shit here. When you transition from this life, you can't just wipe away this experience and start a whole new one. No, you bringing this and this motherfucker, this energy coming with your ass. They say you don't take none when you go. That was a bold-faced lie. You taking energies, traumas, gifts, taking a whole lot of shit into the next life. Don't let them niggas gas you on that shit. So when we deal with the house lords, guys, it don't matter what area of our life we're dealing with. We always want to understand the house lords for every motherfucking house in the chart. This is always going to help us, you know, understand why we have certain influences, thoughts, and feelings to do certain things in certain areas of our life. You know, you could be financially stable and it still feel like you're unfulfilled because maybe that influence of what you should be doing in your personal life or with career or whatever, you know, you've been neglecting a certain influence to do something in that area, right? I know some of y'all, I know a lot of y'all got things that y'all want to do with y'all life. It's been a strong influence for the longest, but you look at your job, you look at your career, you know, maybe you have children, you look at certain things you're dealing with in the matrix and you're like, let me put that on pause, this and the third. But no matter how much you neglect it, you realize that is a strong influence on your spirit. That's a strong influence on your subconscious. So those type of things, those are things like we brought here to jump into, the experiment and experience. This is why the best thing to do in this lifetime is jump into experiences. That's the best thing to do, because you got to think about it. If you transition and you watch your whole life, I bet you're going to be outside your body looking at yourself like, God damn, I ain't do shit that whole month. I ain't do shit that whole year. I was wasting time down there, you know? How the fuck I have all these squares and oppositions and I was feeling all this friction? I wasn't trying to understand them issues in my life. I wasn't trying to understand them challenges, you know? Back to people dealing with challenges and that bringing you to purpose. This is why, you know, you'll have people that will break a certain habit and then they'll turn into a crazy motivational speaker, or they'll have a crazy brand to help people deal with breaking this habit or dealing with this, that, and the third. Yeah, that's part of your gift here, but you have to, a lot of the times you have to go through certain trials to activate shit. You have to go through certain trials to activate shit. Anybody that think that life can be easy, that's real delusional. You know, this shit gonna have its ups and downs. It's your perception of it, what you make out of it, and the highest of highs is gonna be, you know, you embracing challenges. There's really nothing that's gonna bring more. You think money does. You think money brings you more joy and happiness. You think, you know, at times even being alone make you feel happy, or being in a relationship make you feel happy. But when you overcome challenges, don't nothing feel better than that shit. It's not really that much, nothing that compares to that shit. You know, you overcoming real life challenges. All right. So obviously this is an experience. We're not here to just fucking struggle and deal with challenges and shit all day. Yeah, we want a motherfucker, you know, spread your wings, you feel me, experience. This is an experience. But you can't let this be an experience. You can't let this shit you know, turn your attention away from understanding you got duties here. Now, I guess that was a nice little segue warm up into getting into the houses. All right. Now, the 7th house. So, guys, first of all, the 7th house. Oh, let me do before they flag my shit. We ain't playing Kodak album. Now, the 7th house, off rip. The 7th house is opposite your 1st house. So all the opposite houses in the chart, they're going to start at the same degree. All right. So if you're a 15-degree Libra rising, your 7th house is going to start at 15 degrees Aries. You know, if your 3rd house starts in 9 degrees Gemini, your 9th house is going to start in 9 degrees Sagittarius. So the opposite houses are always going to mirror each other from a degree perspective. So what happens when we jump into the 7th house? This is the house that we deal with partnerships, other people, one-on-one relationships. All right. One-on-one relationships. This is the house where we realize the way we personally see things from our 1st house, that shit don't always rock in the 7th house. That's when we realize, you know, people, we have to learn how to compromise. We have to learn how to cooperate. You know, we have to learn how to deal with partnerships. Okay. So when I look at your rising sign, off rip, I know what sign is in your 7th house. So off rip, I already know what things your personality clashes with in the world. Your 1st house is your personality, right? So whatever's in that 7th house, your partner may have these traits. This is why it don't matter if you haven't been in love or been in a twin flame, soulmate, karmic relationship. our seventh house is opposite from the first house. So other people will always help you to learn self. When you go to school, when you're in pre-K, when you're in elementary school, you start learning a whole motherfucking bunch about yourself off rip, because your ass stepped the fuck out the house. Your ass ain't just in the house being motherfucking drinking titty milk and just rolling around, lounging and shit, looking at these same motherfuckers that you came into the world with. It's like, all right, I done got used to these niggas. Now, when you go to pre-K and kindergarten, you like, hold on. Y'all niggas don't all talk like me. Y'all don't all dress like me. This nigga head big as shit. This nigga black as shit. Like, we different as a mug. Damn, I thought everybody thought like me. Then we get to first grade, second grade, third grade. We start having conversations with others as adolescents. We start realizing motherfuckers think differently. We get into seventh grade, eighth grade. We start realizing our friends, we seek different things in partners. We like different relationships. We get into college, motherfuckers got different majors. Motherfuckers got different career pursuits. So that's that seventh house. The seventh house is anytime you're in an environment where you could deal with interaction with another motherfucker and you start being able to look at the first house through the seventh house. Whenever somebody else is making you really think about yourself, oh, they pulling on your seventh house. All right? Maybe the third or 11th house. So that's the seventh house, man. One-on-one interactions, one-on-one relationships, how we manifest. Keep in mind, y'all, of course, a huge emphasis on intimate romantic relationships here, but it doesn't mean it's condensed to that. We're dealing with all form of relationships, friendships. You know, anytime you deal with people on a one-on-one level, a lot of seventh house energies, you in the seventh house, a lot of those energies is going to pop up. So these are not just traits that you may pick up in a partner or what you expect. These are things you may experience dealing with people in life, in the world. Okay? So it could be simple placements like this that make people feel like they targeted individuals. You got a certain sign, because you got a certain rising sign, you got a sign that don't resonate with the seventh house in their house, or you got a sign that don't resonate with the 11th house in a certain house, and you think you a targeted individual because motherfucker, you got Aries in the motherfucker seventh house, and everybody in your relationships is selfish and they power and controlling and shit, and you just like, man, fuck this shit. Everybody's fucked up. No, you ain't do no. We gotta do a little deep diving in that. The moment you start thinking you a victim in some type of shit, there's a lesson in your chart. There's a spiritual lesson somewhere that you're looking at the wrong way. The moment you start thinking that shit, the moment you start thinking you're a victim in any type of situation in life, is the moment you starting to shy away from taking accountability. You know, sometimes people be like, "Damn, what did this person deserve to experience this or manifest this situation in their life?" Man, y'all take shit light when people say we bring shit from the past life. Y'all take that shit light. There's a whole lifetime of experiences, and you think, oh, you only bringing gifts here? Shit, what goes around comes around. So better treat your neighbor the way you want to be treated. You don't know what the fuck is in store for you them first 10 years of your next lifetime. Let me not make that much of a joke out of that shit. But anyways, so the seventh house, man. The seventh house, whatever sign in there, that's gonna have a huge temperament on what we experience in our relationships and with our partners. That's what I'm breaking down on YouTube right now. But we want to look at that house lord, right? So you going through all the motherfucking T's. You going through things in your relationships, right? And you don't know where the fuck to pinpoint that shit from. You like, okay, I got this in my seventh house. My Venus is here. You know, why the fuck do I experience these energies in relationships? Yeah, I'm on YouTube. We have to look at what that seventh house lord is making contact with. You know, I know astrology gets a little bit, sometimes it is a lot of connections to be made. Obviously, those that's been into this for a little minute, it's easier to understand when it comes to how planets making contact with each other, certain things affect things. But if we already know that whatever planet that rules the seventh house, whatever that planet is going through, it's bringing that into relationships. So if that planet is a part of a fucking 4-planet stellium, them three other planets surrounding your seventh house lord, those is big factors in your relationships. Those is huge factors in your relationships. You can't deal with relationships without them energies. Them energies are always present in your relationships. Let's say your seventh house lord is like I said, is conjunct, is in a stellium or is conjunct one planet. Understand that energy is always going to be present in your relationship. It can be a support, and it could clash, so conjunctions kind of go both ways. Now, let's say you locate your seventh house ruler and it's squaring or opposing a planet. Now we could get we could develop more clarity, understand why the fuck when I get into relationships, this energy always finds a way to clash into my relationship. It don't matter if I'm dealing with getting to know somebody at work, It don't matter if I'm fucking scheduling to study with a classmate or if I'm trying to date somebody, you feel me? I'm trying to put my best moves on somebody, you feel me? Why does this energy always pop up? It don't matter if it's a friendship or an intimate. Do you got squares in opposition to that seventh house lord? Okay. All right. So let's do a little example. Let's say you are a Cancer rising and you have Capricorn. And I'm gonna go through celebrities just so we could see a little representation of certain things with celebrities, right? Let's say you're a Cancer rising and you have you're gonna have Capricorn in your seventh house, right? So your seventh house lord is Saturn. Now let's say Saturn is in the third house, right? Let's say it's in the third house. But let's say what squares the third house? The sixth house. Let's say you have Pluto. Say you have Pluto in the sixth house, right? So your seventh house lord is Saturn and it's in the third house. So Saturn's experiencing things in the third house and it's bringing that to the seventh house, right? So you're actually this is a strong alignment, because you're going to pick up on things dealing with relationships early in life in your adolescent stages, and you're going to be able to pick up on a lot of green and red flags dealing with people in the seventh house because you done read a lot of people when you was younger and shit. You knew what you manifested a lot of situations, Saturn in the third house, understanding who to restrict, what type of people not to build relationships with. Saturn going to just break that shit down in the third house. It might even restrict you from even making friendships and relationships because you might have a strict third house. Anyways, so let's say that's what's going on. Saturn in the third house is bringing them experiences into the seventh house. Now, if your Pluto's in the sixth house squaring that Saturn, for one, now you're going to deal with power and control issues in your relationship, right? But you're going to know because Pluto's in the sixth house, it's coming from the sixth house. So it may be with a person from work. It may be a situation from work. It may be what you're trying to manifest with Pluto in the sixth house, what you're trying to transform and change with Pluto in the sixth house, be actually clashing with your relationships. A lot of changes you go through with Pluto in the sixth house, or things that you once again, transformations or rebirths you experience with how you should be working on things, scheduling things, or within these actual transformations taking place in the workplace. If you got that Pluto in the sixth house making contact with your seventh house lord from a square, you're going to be able to know that, all right, when I deal with a lot of power control issues, or when I deal with certain things I'm trying to transform at work or stabilize at the workplace or within my sixth house, my schedule, regimen, routine, I know sometimes this shit could affect my relationships. So when I do see the clash, I'm more aware of how to deal with it. I understand what the root issue is. I know where the clash is coming from. All right. Now I could communicate with my partner a little bit differently, or I could situate things in my relationship a little bit differently. All right. You can have a planet opposing your seventh house lord, squaring or opposing. Okay. Just know that planet is going to always bring its friction into your relationships, Now, if it's a sextile or a trine, so this is a planet harmonizing with your seventh house lord, right? So the planet harmonizing with your seventh house lord. that planet, those planets, whatever houses they're in, they're going to be able to bring help. They're going to be able to complement your relationship at times. These can show positive traits in your partner. Now, back to the squares and opposition, whatever planet you have squaring or opposing the 7th house ruler can develop as traits with the partner. So once again, Pluto dealing with transformation, rebirths, power, passion, intensity, long-term goals. That energy alone, if it's making contact with the 7th house Lord, you know, your partner can have these traits by default. Your partner can either be a little power controlling. You can manifest power controlling individuals. You can manifest probably possessive individuals, motherfucking Pluto and this shit. You can manifest, you know, real reserved motherfuckers, real reserved. You can manifest some real intense partners. So the characteristics of that planet could start influencing the type of partners you deal with. So obviously, if you have the planet hitting your 7th house Lord from a square opposition, it's going to deal with more friction. Now, if you look at your 7th house Lord and it's getting hit by sextiles and trines, these are things that complement or work in a harmonious nature in your relationships, you know. Listen, some people out here, it's your life. You do what you want to do with your life. But you know, you got people out here that complain about things in relationships, but be actually having options, and maybe what they have, they you know, they picky, or maybe they motherfucking standards is too high, or maybe they're just they need more knowledge of self to understand what the fuck they really want, you know. Most people think they know what they want in relationships. If I ask you that, most people, you gonna have to really think about that shit when you really think about it. You feel me? And it's okay. It's okay having to get that shit together. It is okay, especially in the times we in today. There's all type of different motherfucking perspectives we developing about relationships. But overall, though, that's part of why shit could be a little unstable, because we could already be a little misunderstood with ourselves as far as what the fuck we really want in relationships and shit. You know, some people do know what the fuck they want in relationships. So I'm speaking to those who be a little confused. Okay. However, the sextiles and trines, these would be planets that harmonize with it. So back to the example, Capricorn in the 7th house, that makes Saturn the 7th house Lord. So Saturn is in the 3rd house. Let's say we got the sun in the 1st house, sextiling Saturn. So we got the sun harmonizing with your 7th house Lord in the 3rd house. So for one, that sun, it's always gonna, in some type of shape or form, it's gonna bring light. It's gonna bring awareness to things dealing with your relationship life. You may manifest a lot of people from your 1st house, from your personal life, that actually, you know, are good support systems when it comes to all relationships in your life. Once again, this may not even be your intimate relationships. So you may have people in your 1st house that, you know, they have a great eye for things dealing with your relationships, your intimate relationships. Or it may be a situation like, let's say you in high school, you're an athlete and you're getting recruited by different Division I schools and you don't know which school you want to go to. You got this alignment. You got the sun in the 1st house harmonizing with your 7th house Lord. I bet you're going to manifest some type of support out the 1st house, somebody in your 1st house, in your personal life, to shine some light or awareness or express or bring some type of help or support to help you gain an awareness on what decisions to make with other people, with other environments, right? So this is how it would play out, like a harmonious, a gift type alignment, you know? But, you know, a lot of the times, you know, I'm realizing, you know, when it comes to our gifts, we sleep on them shits. We sleep on our gifts in this lifetime. We really sleep on our gifts. We want things that other people have. We have our own gifts, and then we see other gifts. We see other people do certain things. We forget what the fuck we good at. We want that. When if you maximize the talents or the things you're good at, people gonna be looking at you like, damn, I wish I could do that. So you gotta learn how to walk in your own goddamn power first. You feel me? Could waste a lot of time trying to manifest some shit somebody else motherfucking got when you ain't even maximize the shit you brought here. So having that, if you locate your 7th house Lord, look at what planets are sextiling it or trining it, and think about these areas what help you get from these areas. You know, think about how these how these planets that sextile are trine your seventh house lords, how these energies be playing out as traits in your partner. So back to that sun hitting the seventh house lord, Saturn. If the sun is harmonizing it, I would be able to, if this was like my alignment, I would know that my partners are going to be able to see things about my actions that I don't see at times. They're going to help me to see things about my goddamn self. You know, the sun deals with awareness and seeing. So they're going to help me to see things about my actions. I'm going to learn a lot about how to express myself and my actions through this person a lot of the time. This person may be a real expressive, and I may attract expressive individuals in my relationships, and that inspires me to learn how to deal with expression, you know, or or deal with creativity. Okay. So boom, that's what you got going on. Now we're being realistic here. We ain't sugarcoating shit. We ain't sugarcoating shit. Who the fuck is this nigga? Shut your goofy ass up, nigga. Who the fuck is you, boy? Hold on, y'all. Y'all don't understand. I'm a Libra Scorpio. I'm fucking petty. Let me search this nigga shit up real quick. Who the fuck is your fucking long chin head ass, my nigga? Who is you, boy? Oh, weird ass niggas, man. Yo, we really in a the bots is taking over. The bots and agents really taking over nowadays. What the fuck is going on in eclipse season? We got motherfucking McDonald's doing tarot readings. We got long chin head ass niggas coming in the chat talking crazy. What's good with eclipse season right now? The spiritual community really just be chilling doing their thing. Like, niggas really be on us, bro. About to flame this nigga. Look at this nigga, y'all. This crimson chin head ass nigga. This nigga chin jaw swollen shit. Your natural swole ass jaw. What is you talking about? About to get you. Looking mad, motherfucking low vibrational, you bitch ass nigga. What is you talking about? No, who took this picture? Who took this picture? Because it's starting to look like somebody took this shit. Like, yo, bro, if I hold the phone, bro, it's the angle. Bro, just take the picture, bro. Take the picture, bro. Now let me put my scully on. I ain't got no cut. Ugly head ass nigga. I'm not your average astrologer, bitch. Don't let me find out you live in New York too. I'm a New York air sign, nigga. We know everybody. But anyways, you know, I'm not even gonna block homie and all that. I'm gonna let him do him. You feel me? You gotta let the agents have fun and all that. But so boom. Anyways. All right, hold on. I'm not done. Hold on, y'all. I gotta cook this nigga real quick. Boy, this is a bad fit. Fuck is you talking about? Them jeans is weak as fuck. This is a bad fit. I would never wear them. What? I would never wear them J's. No. The bottom of your jeans is mad baggy. These is fake ball mains. All right, my bad, y'all. You're right. This is a distraction. My bad, y'all. Y'all know I'm ignorant. Y'all knows I'm ignorant. All right. Life is about balance, y'all. Y'all gotta know when to jump into y'all ignorant bag at times. Now, anyways, so planets sextiling. Somebody said Libras, man. What are you talking about? Now, sextiles and trines to the seventh house lord. So yes, If let's say the sun is harmonizing with your 7th house Lord, then you gonna shit. Remember, the sun is awareness. The sun is how you see. So if you have the sun harmonizing with your 7th house Lord, you're going to be pretty intuitive when it comes to how other people deal with relationships. You're going to be able to connect with somebody, and off the rip tell, you have a great feel for, based on how they deal with you, how they deal with people overall, or you'll be able to see how somebody deals with a person. And then when they start dealing with you, you'll be able to read how they shift. All right. If you got the sun conjunct your 7th house Lord, you may know how to manipulate a little bit by putting certain things into the light or expressing certain things and acting on certain things to make your partners feel a certain way. So that may be a little trick you know how to pull out your sleeves. But overall though, if you got the anything conjunct that harmonizing with that 7th house Lord, this is going to be an advantage or something that you know you're going to be we could say gifted with when it comes into your relationships in some type of shape or form. So let's go through all the planets. So remember, conjunctions to the 7th house Lord, you know, these are things that you're going to be pretty much gifted with when it comes into your relationships. These traits are going to be pretty frequent in your relationship experiences and potentially in a lot of people that you deal with, you know. So 7th house Lord, now I don't have to say, you know, how important it is knowing the house that your 7th house Lord is in, right, y'all? We should know that the house that you have your 7th house Lord in, that is a very important area. All right, it's a very important area. This is going to be an area where a lot of your relationship, you're going to develop a lot of relationships here. You may pull out some soulmates, twin flames, some motherfucking potential soul ties, may turn into some soul ties, but a lot of karmic relationships may come out this house. You know, you may find yourself harmonizing with people in this house by default. You know, whatever house your 7th house Lord is in, is like almost every time you go in that house, you just be you. You don't have to shift energies, nothing, and you accept it for you in that house. You know, it's real relatable in that house. All right. Dwan says, Belle Papillon says she got the 7th house Lord in the 4th house. So shit, either the family environment you was raised up under, you may have found energies real relatable amongst your siblings, potentially your parents and whatnot. It may have been a harmonious energy in the home environment, or you may also have manifested relationships based off things in the 4th house. So, you know, where you live at, you may have met your motherfucking partner, you know, things connected to your home where you live at, or people in your family environment, you know, may have manifested relationships out of that shit. Okay. If you have the North Node in the 7th house, hell yeah, that's important. Hell yeah, the house that you have your North Node in is very important, because every time you go into the house, it feels a little nervous. It feels a little scary in the house. It feels a little unfamiliar. So you learning a lot in the house, you know. Your birth parents are Aquarius, and you got Aquarius in the 7th house. So your parents' sons fall into your 7th house. So they have a great insight on how you deal with communication, relationships. You know, you probably have real harmonious forms of communication with your parents, or y'all understand each other from a perspective where y'all can at least communicate with each other when despite differences here. They may be real curious about your relationships, you know, even down like, how your best friend doing, or how's that girl you used to, where's that, she was such a nice girl. What's her name again? Gladys. Margaret. I don't know why I'm pulling out these 1930 head ass names. Agatha. Where's where's Agatha at? Good girl. I haven't seen her in church in a couple weeks now. I hope you ain't doing nothing bad to that girl. She was a good girl. Now, anyway, so the 7th house Lord. So the house, once again, the house that the 7th house Lord is in, guys, this is like yeah. Every time you jump into this house, you could bump into a soulmate. Every time you jump into this house, you know, it might be somebody you connect with that you really fuck with. You know, every time you go in this house, you got a business. It might be easy to sell shit in this house, you know. You into astrology, it might be easy to put people on to that shit in this house. You need some support or help, it's most likely a motherfucker in this house that got you. You feel me? Now, 7th house lord making contact with the sun. We pretty much broke that down. You know, your partner, you're gonna you may experience a lot of expressive individuals in your life. And when I say expressive, it could get to egotistical extreme. So you deal with a lot of people that have strong ways of how they perceive things. You know, you could be around highly creative individuals, a lot of inspirational individuals, a lot of people in your life based off of how they take action on things and express themselves. It motivates you to be more expressive. You know, you may manifest a partner. You may manifest a partner that's pretty expressive, and your partner be like, yo, she be talking to you like that all the time. Like, yeah, that's she just be getting shit off her chest. That's how she is. You know, the therapist told her don't bottle that shit up. So I let her express herself, you know, because I know how it was. You know, when I was a kid, I dealt with some of that shit in my childhood, you know, my shit being my form of expression being suppressed and shit, you know, so I don't be trying to project on her. And nigga, she just cussed your ass out in front of everybody. Nigga, shut your ass up. So yes, you can manifest a very expressive partner, egotistical partners a bit, prideful ass partners, sun in the 7th house. Sun making contact with your 7th house lord. With the sun making contact with your 7th house lord, you may also manifest being. You may manifest. Now, this is going to depend on more so how the alignment is. If it's a conjunction, square, opposition, sextile, or trine. But if it's a square opposition with the sun to your 7th house lord, you may manifest a lot of situations where you feel like you need to be seen and heard more in your relationship, or you attract partners like that, attention-seeking partners, motherfucking attention-seeking like a motherfucker. You feel me? Could validate them all day, every day. Is something else they need, they want to be seen for, they want to be felt for. You know, you gotta be careful, 7th house lord making contact with the sun if dealing with people that drain you out that motherfucker. I'm a whole Capricorn rising moon. Motherfuckers get mad dealing with me. Don't ask me if that just make you look fat. Don't ask me that shit. Don't ask me that shit. Those are not questions I'm good with. Those is not questions I'm good with. If I'm on a good day, the Libra side of bullshit some shit and have you feel good. Man, when the days where I feel like being realistic, fuck all that happy shit. I feel like being in my Saturn bag today. Listen, babe. You, how you think you look? Oh shit, that's the worst response right there. Babe, do you think this dress make me look fat? Like, I feel like I gained some weight. How do you think it made me look? I mean, how do you think it make you look? Oh shit, Boro. Why you did that? Why you said that? God damn. I'm mixing up the contacts. Like, how many houses is in between a trine? So a trine is when you got the planet in the same elements. Okay, so if your 7th house lord is in air and you got a planet in other air signs, they're most likely probably trining each other, you know? So trines would be 3 signs away. 3 signs away. All right. And sextiles are 2 signs away. So Aries sextiles Gemini. You got Taurus, Gemini. Gemini sextiles Leo. Got Gemini, Cancer, Leo. Leo sextiles Libra. Leo, Virgo, Libra. You know, so sextiles are 2 signs away. All right. This is why if y'all just Google what signs have compatibility, they're naturally going to list those are the signs they're going to put up there. You know, if you Google right now what signs Aries is compatible with, they're most likely going to say Gemini, Aquarius, Sag, Leo, and they might throw Libra in there as the opposite because it's like a fatal attraction type of thing. So opposites, they come together really hard, but hopefully, you know, they got other planets in their arsenal to keep them together when their opposite energies starts opposing each other. But that's the thing, it'd be hard dealing with your opposites at time because it's like there could be times where you feel like you need their energy. You really need their motherfucking energy or their outlook on something. And then it could be times where you like it's really potent, like you hit polar shifts. You really can't deal with them. You feel like you're gonna go motherfucking crazy if they come around you with some. All right, I'm a Libra, so it's like it might be a time where, you know, I don't know what the fuck I want to eat. So if I had an Aries girlfriend, she's like, all right, look, I'm gonna just get you this, that, and the thing. I'm like, all right, fuck it, babe, boom. That's a good scenario where the opposites worked out. Now, if I'm just chilling, relaxing about some shit, and then my Aries girlfriend is pressing me about some shit, she's trying to force me to do some shit, or there's something she's really into, and I don't really give a fuck about it, and she's forcing that shit on me. Now we gonna have a clash because you being way too motherfucking forceful, and I'm trying to I'm trying to relax. I'm trying to be relatable, but you ain't giving me a chance to be relatable. You just trying to force some shit upon me. All right. So yeah, the opposite clashes be crazy. The opposite clashes be crazy. I don't know why I just started talking to the mic, but so yeah, that's the sun making contact with your seventh house. All right, let me not spend too much time on each one. So yeah, egotistical partner, prideful ass motherfucking partner, expressive ass motherfucking partner. Partner always want to be seen or felt. Your ass might be like that too. And a lot of your self-identity, if you got the sun making contact with your seventh house lord, a lot of your self-identity may be constructed from your relationships and people that you be around more than another person would. So people you surround yourself with have a huge influence on your self-identity and how people perceive you personally. Now, seventh house lord making contact with the moon. Seventh house lord, can you describe the 8th, 9th, and 10th houses? The 8th house is a water house that deals with your secrets, occult energy, dark energies. When we talk about dark energy, we're talking about your subconscious insecurities, things that people don't see from you, right? Inner thoughts. These are also your inner passions and motives to do things. People don't see your intentions and motives until you start acting on things. All right. So we have an influence of the subconscious realm, and we have an influence of the occult realm in the 8th house. Okay. And also deals with transformation, rebirths, and sex. So whatever planets you got in there, motherfuckers don't see them shits. They hidden. 9th house is the house dealing with higher learning. So after we get out the 8th house that's dealing with darkness, there's no light. We're dealing with secrets. We're dealing with our shadow selves. When we transit into the 9th house, now we're enlightened. So this is why we call this house the house of enlightenment, the house of higher learning, the house of education. This house is dealing with philosophy, spirituality, religion, long distance travel, experiences. Okay, planets in this house, you're going to be learning a lot about them, and you may be somebody to be able to teach these energies a lot. And then the 10th house. The 10th house is your stability, all right? Is your social status, all right? So you went through your crisis in the 8th house. You went through your transformations and your rebirths and shit. Then you went to the 9th house. You developed new philosophies. You developed new, a new belief system, all right? You were enlightened based off of, dealing with your shadow side. Now we get into the 10th house. You got a reputation for that shit. Motherfuckers is talking about you down the block. Yeah, that motherfucker that got into that car accident and shit. Them niggas is walking already. Like, where the nigga that just got hit 2 weeks ago? Yeah, nigga walking already. Motherfuckers gonna know you. You got a reputation. So now you in the 10th house. You got a social status. You have notoriety. You have a reputation. That was a reach of a motherfucking example, but y'all get it. The 10th house deal with your social status, and we also is an earth house. So all earth houses are going to influence things dealing with reality, dealing with stability, foundation, money, finances, work, career. 10th house just has a huge influence on your social status. So that's the 8th, 9th, and the 10th house. Now, let's say your 7th house lord is making contact with the moon. What is the moon? The moon is your intuition. The moon is your understanding. The moon is your emotions, your feelings, is your subconscious. So if you have the moon making contact with your 7th house lord, you don't lie to these people. All right? You don't lie to these people. You don't you come to these motherfuckers transparent because they're too intuitive dealing with other people. They feel things when it comes to relationships and dealing with other people. All right? Depending on what sign that moon is in, is going to show a lot about how they may react to things dealing with relationships. So if they got the motherfucking moon in Aries, Scorpio, or some shit, they going to have some impulsive, aggressive ways reacting to things in their relationships, or real assertive ways reacting to things in relationships. They got the moon in Libra, Gemini, or something, They might be way more invested in being relatable, being more understanding of somebody else's viewpoints and things in relationships. You got the moon in water or some shit, Cancer, Pisces or some shit. You know, these motherfuckers is reading your emotions in relationships. They're reading between the lines with people. They're reading things subconsciously. You know, they know when people lying to them. They could feel that shit. They could feel these people make for very they're gonna be great with things dealing with counseling and relationship coaching if you have the moon making contact with the 7th house lord. Now, if it's in a square opposition, it's actually different. If you got the moon squaring or opposing your 7th house lord, you're gonna have negative reactions, unreasonable reactions to things in your relationships. Or you may attract emotionally unstable individuals in your life. Okay, so you got to be able to have your boundaries. You got to be able to know who's worth it to you to be helping put energy work into and shit. You know, you may be the one, because the moon deal with emotion. You may be the one attracting some motherfucking impulsive partners and shit at times. Okay, but emotional instability, that's gonna be big here if the moon is squaring or opposing your 7th house lord. You know. And you're going to be in situations where you really be having to learn how to deal with reacting to dealing with other people despite how you feel about the circumstance. Okay. Now, if the moon is sextiling or trining, if it's sextiling or trining or conjunct the 7th house lord, now this is somebody that you know they're going to be real intuitive when it comes to relationships. This person may feel like they need to respond to things in their relationship. So this is the person that, you know, I don't know. Some people, I'm nonchalant and shit. Sometimes when it's like, you know, there's some shit going on in a relationship and shit, and I know my partner want to talk about shit, I'm a little petty. I'm like, let's talk about that shit tomorrow. Knowing damn well they dying to talk about that shit tonight. But I don't know. That's my toxic side. It's like, I know you dying to talk about some shit tonight. I gotta give that shit another night. Let that shit move into tomorrow. People with the moon conjunct or sextile or trine the 7th house lord. Oh no, that conversation happening tonight because the moon deal with response. The moon deal with motherfucking response and is your emotional needs. So things being settled and established in relationships, that ain't a want. That's a need for this person. This person damn near could get caught up overreacting to things in their relationship to the point, you know, depending on what sign that moon is in and other aspects, they may be too emotionally invested into the relationship to the point they lose a sense of reality, and they you know, they get a little bit unintentional or, you know, unorganized with what's going on in their first house or what they're doing in their personal life. You know, so whenever you have the moon making contact with like the 7th house and relationship like energies in the chart, you gotta be careful how much you compromise yourself or you know, how much you allow yourself to become drained dealing with other individuals. You got to understand that shit. All right. My 7th house lord is the moon. So I'm pretty extreme when it comes to relationships because if I don't care about it, you ain't hearing from me. If I care, you get the effort. So there ain't really no medium in that sense. You feel me? But people that have that energy, the moon touching, they got their 7th house lord is another planet, but the moon, their moon sign is touching it. Sometimes you be playing people, you overly considering things in relationships, dealing with other people and shit before making some individual decisions at times, you know, like with the moon in the 1st house. Okay, so are you saying if that's your 7th house lord? If your 7th house lord is the moon and you got that in the 1st house, then you're gonna deal with some friction in your relationships by default because the 1st house is opposite to the 7th house, but that's the house where your relationship compatibility is at because your 7th house lord is in that house. So how does that play out? You can't be going outside yourself for relationships. Y'all hear me talk about working on yourself, self-love, self-discipline, you know, being a better person, working on being a partner you want. All that shit I be saying, that's you ain't finding love and shit with the 7th house lord in the 1st house without, you know, embracing some of that shit right there. And this is my placement. So I'm speaking from experience. I can't date people that's not into shit in my first house. I can't do it. I can't coach somebody into astrology, spirituality. I can't do none of that shit. You got to be on my type time when it comes to what I'm personally intrigued by. You feel me? What I'm personally into. So if you got the 7th house in the first house, you're going to be put in a lot of positions where you might try to condense yourself and what you're into to make relationships work and shit. Nah, you got to put energy work into the first house. If I'm saying whatever house the 7th house Lord is in is going to always have potential for harmonious relationships, flames, soulmates, then the more you're in that house is the more you're going to manifest potential to walk into that, to manifest that. So if you have the 7th house Lord in your first house, a lot of your fruitful relationships in life are going to come from you locking in on your personal shit, personal aspirations, things dealing with personal development, right? This is how you attract fruitful people into your life. All right. Somebody might have the 7th house Lord in another house, a social house. So, somebody might have the 7th house Lord in the 11th house. So they be finding love and soulmates in places that they're not even familiar with. You was just going shopping here. You went to this event here. You went to go get gas over there. The 11th house, the outside world. You motherfucker ran down on you. Feel me? Somebody introduced themselves to you. Feel me? This, that, and the third. Now it's boom. But that manifested because you put yourself in that space. You was in the 11th house. You was outside. You got the 7th house Lord in the 11th house. So every time you go to another event, every time you go somewhere where people don't know you, where you're unfamiliar with the environment, or where there's a lot of other unfamiliar faces there, right? You're automatically in an area where you could bump into a flame. You bump into somebody that you can manifest a real harmonious relationship with. All right, so that's 7th house Lord in the first house, 7th house Lord in the first house. All right, that's how that one plays out. Now, so yeah, that's how the moon happens. If the moon is squaring or opposing the 7th house Lord, you need to be conscious how you react to things in your relationships. All right, most likely, if the moon is squaring or opposing, it's once again, it's how you be reacting to it. It's also you may attract partners that have negative ways of reacting towards things within the relationship, but you got to be conscious of how you push the energy out. So if your 7th house Lord is in Cancer, but your moon is in Capricorn, you feel me? Your 7th house Lord is dealing with more understanding, connection, and nurture. But you got the moon in Capricorn. So the way you naturally relate to things the way you naturally relate to life and deal with life is more structured. It's more dealing with business. You're a little bit more cutthroat. Relationships, if it ain't about business or whatnot, if you ain't building with them right now, you might not cry about that shit or lose sleep over that shit. So that shit gonna clash with your relationship. Your 7th house Lord is in Cancer or some shit. You feel me? Your 7th house Lord is in Cancer. You need to learn how to be more understanding, feel people's subconscious out a bit more, understand how to build connection with people. Build a rapport with a motherfucker before you engage into shit with them. So this is shit that you're going to have to learn, but your moon in Capricorn might be fucking it up at times. Your moon in Capricorn, you be responding to the relationship negatively. You be a little bit too practical. You viewing this shit like it's a transaction when the motherfucker just trying to get to know you and build a rapport and understand you and shit. You feel me? You being a little bit too reserved. Some of y'all moon signs act like a motherfucker trying to get to know y'all, nigga trying to set y'all up. Capricorn's one of them. Motherfucker try to get to know y'all. Motherfucker act like it's the feds. Somebody trying to get to know an Aries, Scorpio, Virgo, Capricorn, Aquarius. Y'all be acting like it's the nigga. You ain't even doing nothing for niggas to be on you. Why y'all be paranoid? Like, who sent you? Who the fuck sent you? On the other hand, you got other signs when people try to get to know them. They're like, oh shit, damn, today's my lucky day. AKA Leo, Libra, Gemini, Pisces. Somebody trying to get to know them, run down on the Libra, Leo, Gemini. They start feeling their ass. They're not even paying attention to your ass no more. They just thinking in their head like, I'm the shit. Motherfucker, look, I don't gotta do shit. Motherfuckers is approaching me when I come outside. You feel me? But if you go walk up on a Cancer chick like, excuse me, how you doing? What's your name? I just want to introduce myself. Might pepper spray your ass. It's like, damn. I ain't touch you, nothing. I should have listened to my astrology. They said I got Mars transit in the motherfucking third house. Third house, what third house rule the eyes? Shit. My mother got motherfucking Mars transit in my third house. Got me motherfucking pepper sprayed. Ain't that a bitch? Got about motherfucking 45% of vision left out this motherfucker. Niggas did say shit was gonna change this eclipse season. I ain't know my vision was gonna change. I ain't know the hue of my pupil was finna change. Hey, yo. So, yeah, man. 7th house lords, you got to be careful of how your moon, if your moon is making contact with that 7th house lord, you got to be careful. You got to understand that shit because your moon is your needs. So these are going to start to be things that you is very subconscious, but these are things you need in relationships. And if you're not aware about this, you may not understand how you push this energy on somebody else. You may not understand how you push this energy on somebody else. You feel me? So I'm gonna just use myself for example one more time. My 7th house lord is the moon. So the planets that my moon is conjunct, my Neptune and Capricorn, I need those energies in my relationships. I need them energies in relationships. So my individuality needs to be respected, you know, and there needs to be a sense of understanding with motherfucking Neptune there, with anybody I deal with in my motherfucking life, you know, because I put myself in positions to naturally understand people. You know, I've been through a lot of shit. So just naturally with that type of energies, I could point to it with Neptune in conjunct my moon, but I always assume motherfuckers been through more shit than me by default, because that's how life is. Motherfuckers think they the only motherfuckers lifing. No, everybody be lifing. Everybody going through some shit. So that's the moon, y'all. That's the moon. But if the moon is harmonizing with the 7th house lord, man, these people are going to be real intuitive when it deals with other people, understanding the subconscious of other people, and they may be more wiser when it comes to reacting to situations and relationships, especially dealing with the thoughts and feelings and emotions of another individual. You have to make sure if you have the moon harmonizing with your 7th house lord, you have to be careful of, because the moon attracts. So you're gonna have to be careful of emotional dependence that you attract. You may bring a lot of understanding or stability to people's emotional well-being, but that shit could turn into emotional dependence real quick, real motherfucking quick if you got the moon sextiling, trining, or conjunct that 7th house lord. Yeah. Yo, my brother Zodiac Energy 1 is in the building. I believe he's on YouTube and IG right now. If y'all see his name in the comments, you feel me? That's who y'all need to be subscribing and tapping into with. All right. What bro said, yeah, my moon is opposite Pluto in the 7th on the Scorpio cusp. So your moon is opposite Pluto in the 7th Scorpio, in the 7th house Scorpio cusp. So shit, Pluto touching that 7th house, you know, a lot of your rebirths in this lifetime is gonna come through dealing with relationships with other people. It may be some relationships you ain't never see transforming that gonna transform with Pluto in the 7th house, and those transformations, those relationships that transform, those just transform your whole character. You know, Pluto got relationships in the 7th house that transform your character. Pluto in the 7th house, you know, starts to help you to understand how to filter people in your 7th house. So you motherfucking detox enemies, haters, motherfuckers that don't compliment how you like to conduct yourself in the 7th house. You're gonna meet a lot of intense people in this lifetime. You're gonna meet some deep ass individuals, though, you know. So your ability to connect the occult and astrology, bro, with Scorpio in the 7th house, that may be real easy in this lifetime. You meet a motherfucking occult every week. Pluto in the 7th house. You tap into a new astrologer, new spiritualist every week. Pluto in the 7th house like this motherfucker. Every relationship you get out of, oh, you a whole new person. You could have been dating somebody for 3 months. You a whole new person when you got out that situation. So relationships change you like a motherfucker. You feel me? Yes, y'all cap so stiff. I hate it. My Pisces moon is just trying to love on you with my Scorpio stuff. That's what man, listen, man. I know we mad dry. So like that's why I love water energy. Like I love Cancer energy. You feel me? Sometimes like motherfuckers be mad when you tell them, all right, stop. That's enough nurture for today. They be mad. It's like, you feel me? You gotta learn how to react to that nice, you feel me? But yeah, us caps, earth signs, we be frying like we don't want that shit. We be frying like we don't want that water. We be wanting all that shit. We be wanting all of that shit. You feel me? So it comes with building the rapport, y'all. Building the rapport. So that's the moon, y'all. Now, leads to some intense isolation, man. Here to make soul bonds this lifetime. Every relationship is traumatic in life. Man, I understand, bro. I understand. Now, let's look at Mercury. Let's look at Mercury making contact. Damn, we already on for a minute and 15 seconds. Intuitive Queen 8 in the building, y'all. Is the 7th house in Capricorn. Saturn make a person very dry in their relationships. It makes you want to have stability and structure in your relationships. You're going to be more realistic dealing with your relationships, and you may attract realistic, overly practical individuals here. All right. Real serious tempered partners or whatnot, you know, almost to the point. It's like, damn, I know I like being realistic in my relationship, but motherfucker, you need to live a little. You need to live a little bit. I thought I was serious. God damn. So Saturn in the 7th house is strong, is exalted here. So you will go through heavy karmic situations with Saturn in the 7th house, dating people or being around people that you know damn well you shouldn't be around. Your karma come quicker than others because Saturn in that 7th house is trying to teach you, motherfucker, we could build so much stability and foundation in this lifetime if we are disciplined dealing with who, or if we're disciplined with our relationships, if we know who deserves our time, if we know what type of people to restrict and what type of people to build with and manage with. So your whole life, Saturn's always restricting what crowds not to fuck with. Your whole life, as soon as you went to school, before you that day when you started learning how to walk to school by yourself and shit, your parents told you, them motherfuckers in the corner, you don't fuck with them motherfuckers over there, all right? When you walk past the motherfucker, I don't want to see you. Them boys are selling drugs over there. And I'll be goddamn if I see your ass mingling with them hoodlums, all right? Saturn in the 7th house was manifesting shit like that. You was a part of programs and shit. Either your parents, your cheerleading team, your basketball team, that shit kept you divided or kept you isolated from certain things. So you're going to manifest certain restrictions in the right places with Saturn in the 7th house. And if you don't understand why these people or groups or environments are being restricted, if you don't understand why you trying to connect with this motherfucker who has nothing but negative intention, why it's so hard trying to connect with them. It's like, if you have Saturn in the 7th house, you probably experienced that a lot of the time. You know somebody you knew somebody, this wasn't a healthy situation or this motherfucker was no good. But you try to connect with them, you try to build a rapport with them. It's like, yo, why does shit feel like so much work or so much resistance? Because Saturn trying to restrict that motherfucker. Saturn trying to make sure y'all's work schedules conflict. So you can start looking at your 7th house more motherfucking seriously, you know? Once again, that's why I like people with Saturn in the 7th house. Because I know if you fucking with me, I'm not even talking about intimate level. This is business. Yeah, I know you serious about what the fuck we going on. You ain't gonna waste no time with me. You ain't gonna waste no motherfucking time with me. You feel me? I don't like my time being wasted. All right. I see this kind of why. All right, so let me get through these so I can take some questions. This seems as intense as my moon, Mars, Saturn, and Pluto all sitting in Libra on the 7th house. And understand that. Understand if you got like multiple planets, stelliums in the 7th house, this is not just what you're pushing out in relationships. You know, it's both. So the planets are your tools, is what you're doing So you got all them planets, the moon, Mars, Saturn, and Pluto in your 7th house. So you're real passionate about your relationships. You mad intentional about things with your relationships. You pretty assertive with things in your relationships. You very sensitive dealing with people with that moon in there. You real sensitive dealing with situations with relationships. You mad understanding at times, but at times you probably go through a lot of, impulsive shifts because you got the moon next to Mars and Pluto in that motherfucker. So having Mars and Pluto by your moon make you have impulsive reactions to things, passionate, aggressive reactions to things. So you may manifest a lot of passionate, intense relationships. The passion may be motherfucking sky high, in a lot of your situations, but then it could get intense as shit when it's on the negative side. That clash or confrontation can be traumatic. It can be transformative with them energies in there, And with all of that being said, you got Saturn in there. So with all that motherfucking transformation, all them changes, that intensity, Saturn still be out that motherfucker like, don't you fuck with this motherfucker. Don't fuck with this environment. Saturn still be in there holding it down. So Mars and Pluto in the 7th house, that ain't no motherfucking joke. Let's get that one out the way. Shout out to everybody that got Mars and Pluto in 7th house. Shout out to everybody that got Mars and Pluto in Libra, Mars and Pluto in air signs. If you got Mars and Pluto in any of these places in the 7th house, in Libra, in air signs, and you already went through a Saturn return, so you passed 27, 28 years old, you should be able to. You need to be wise as hell when it comes to relationships. Once you get past Saturn return time, all that victimized shit, because Mars and Pluto, they pull that motherfucker. Mars and Pluto in the 7th house, Mars and Pluto in Libra, y'all good for that victim shit. Hey, y'all good for that. Every relationship I was in, I was motherfucking taking advantage of. Niggas lied, cheated, steal. Not to say y'all don't experience that shit, but y'all can stay in the victim bag there. I see it happen too many times. I have an older brother. He's a double Aries. He got motherfucking Mars and Pluto in Libra. And every time I try to counsel him with things dealing with relationships in his life, I have to force him to take motherfucking accountability. You are not a victim every situation. Yeah, I know you done went through some transformations in your life. I know you done dealt with some forceful people, but you can't stay content thinking is you're the victim 24/7. That's negative. You're gonna keep attracting them situations. Oh my God, I'm so glad I reminded to hear that Saturn 7th house message. That karma come too quick messaging with. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Y'all don't be knowing what Saturn be trying to prepare for y'all in the 7th house. Y'all don't know what Saturn is trying to manifest with people in your life while it's trying to restrict other people in your life. It's trying to make space for the people that you need to be building with. What if you don't have planets in the 7th house? This is why we look at the house lord. That's why we look at the house lord. Because even if the 7th house is empty, whatever the house lord is at, you're going to understand what's going on in your 7th house based off the sign that's in your 7th house and wherever the house lord is at, because it's bringing them energies into your 7th house. All right. Now, so that's the moon. Mercury. Let's get back to the planets. Mercury, I hear you hit 40, bro. My relationships have been transformed, healing. Thanks for the reflection of confirmation. Ashe. So, motherfucking Mercury making contact with your 7th house lord. Now, what do we know Mercury represents? The mind, communication, thinking, critical analysis. All right. So these are all things you deal with within your partner and in your relationships. Your relationships are heavily. Okay. First of all, let's say it's making harmonious contact. Let's say Mercury's making harmonious contact with your 7th house lord. It's a sextile, trine, or conjunction. You're going to be highly critical in your relationships. You the critical one. You the highly critical one, like a motherfucker. All right. Your Mercury is always going to be paying attention to things in your relationships, highly critical of your partner. Make sure you're not overthinking things with dealing with your relationship or your partner with no evidence or no red flags, nothing leading to what you're thinking about. Make sure you don't overthink situations here, because Mercury's always trying. If you're looking for a problem, you're gonna find it. And Mercury's curious and nosy as fuck. So this is why Geminis, Virgos, Geminis be curious in a relationship. So they in the relationship, but they still curious about other shit. Virgo's ass be overly curious about shit in the relationship. It's like, yo, Virgo, sit your ass the fuck down. I ain't doing shit. Sit your ass down. I'm not your toxic ex. God damn it. Stop going through my fucking phone. I'll break up with your ass. I bet. I'm sorry. I'm gonna just go clean the house. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go pick up another job. I'm sorry. Motherfucking Geminis. So Gemini and Virgo, both curious. Both curious. This is what began you hurt in relationships, Virgo. You better motherfucking listen. I hope y'all Venus and Virgos is listening. I hope y'all Venus, y'all Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rise is listening. This is what began y'all in trouble with relationships. This is where y'all toxic energy be coming out. All right? That overly investigative shit. Calm that shit down, Venus and Virgo. Don't get into the motherfucking relationship if you felt like this motherfucker is too relatable to your toxic ex. Don't get into this shit because your ass gonna be worrying the whole shit. And Virgos, that's y'all. I don't want to drag y'all, but we talking about relationships. Y'all think y'all could fix everything in relationships. We'll get into a fucked up situation and think you could fix that shit. And fuck around, make a lot of progress in that shit, but that shit gonna take too much of a toll on you. And then when the motherfucker leave your ass not giving you credit for what you helped build, stabilize, now we have a suicidal Virgo. Now we have the super suicidal, fucking depressed Virgo. I don't know. I never experienced real love in my life. What a motherfucker got to do to get genuine love? Why I'm always building people up and they just... My ex is a Virgo, and she used to say that shit to me. This is in college, though. This is 2014, 2015. She used to say that shit to me. She used to say it to me all the time, like, yo, it was a toxic relationship. Yeah, it was toxic. I was on and off with my ex. Last relationship I was in, it was a 2-year relationship. We was on and off for 2 years. We never was together for more than 2.5 months. So that's how on and off it was in 2 years, y'all. Very toxic. But she used to say a lot of the time, I hate the fact that I feel like I'm building you up for another bitch. Yo, I'm toxic because I'm laughing hard as shit right now. But it was true. I mean, I don't want to say it was true, but a Virgo, when they're in relationships, it's not even relationships with Virgos. When a Virgo's in the middle of a business project, when they're doing something that's of team effort, their sense of high standard doesn't drop because they're not doing something individually. No, they finna try to build everything in a perfect standard as much as possible. It's just that they do that in their relationships too. It's just that they do that shit in relationships too. You feel me? Oh no, don't worry. I'm not gonna dive too deep into that situation because we got even. So we got even. I taste my own medicine. All right. Before I transitioned from the toxic life, I tasted my own medicine, y'all. So don't worry about that. Trust me, I got my karma. All right. So that's the only reason I got this smile on my face. But so that's motherfucking Virgos. Y'all gotta chill with that investigative shit in y'all motherfucking relationships. You need to learn to be like your sister, Pisces, and motherfucking flow. Pisces get cheated on, and some just don't even fucking care sometimes. Yo, nah, chill. I'm all right. My bad, y'all. This is a Pisces. Y'all just too selfless at times. So y'all love a motherfucker. Pisces, both of y'all, Pisces and Virgos, let people get away with murder in relationships. If we had to make a list of the top 6 zodiac signs that let people get away with murder in relationships, that Pisces Virgo axis, y'all's up there. Y'all's up there like a motherfucker. And Pisces gonna see a nigga could be Lucifer in the flesh. Pisces gonna see Jesus. She's gonna see some Jesus in that nigga. She gonna see she finna see some revelations ready to brew for that nigga. Trust me. Motherfucking Pisces, another one think y'all could change, just like Virgo. It's the same axis. Y'all think y'all could change people too. Y'all just do it different ways. Virgo get all strategical. Virgo gets so strategical almost in a sadistic way, in an evil way. It's like, you fucking smart ass bitch. Like, how the fuck you evil, but damn, that was smart as fuck. I can't even get mad at you because I know if I would have thought of that shit, that was too good of an idea not to do that shit. So I'm kind of giving you props, but you evil as shit. That's Virgo. Pisces is they don't get a Pisces to love you and then hurt them. You know, try to leave their ass before they get invested. All right. If you're gonna leave the Pisces, leave their ass before it get too deep. Because if you try to do some funny shit and bounce before the shit get, and you ain't even tell them that's what it was. You ain't tell them this was just we was just kicking it. You ain't tell them that. They think they was building towards something. You ain't leaving shit. You're not leaving shit. You thought you left the Pisces. Them demons, them spirits they gonna send some spirits your way. And this is even a motherfucking this don't even have to be a super spiritual Pisces. Pisces is be naturally spiritual. So they just be sending you negative ass energies and shit in their head and their subconscious. And the next time fuck around Pisces, you ain't speak to that Pisces all month. Then you speak to that Pisces, they like you start telling them like, yeah, I fucking got fired from my job. I hit by a car the other week, you know. Now that I think about it, shit been pretty fucked up since I left your ass. She's like, who, me? What do you mean? Isn't that what you wanted? You said you wanted to be free. But in their head, they're like, yeah, right, motherfucker. Your ass ain't going nowhere. So, you know, got to be careful with that Pisces Virgo axis. Gemini, when you get into relationships, I know you're curious, but get curious about your partner. That doesn't mean stay curious about everything else in the world. All right, Gemini? Gotta learn to shut that shit down sometimes. That's why Geminis, man, y'all gotta start telling people, y'all gotta have to start telling people like what the fuck it really is when you get into relationships with them. Gemini are really, I know Geminis that will keep. Listen, I'm gonna just say I didn't see some Geminis do some real pimp shit. That's all I'm gonna say right there. That's it. I've seen some Geminis pull some shit off. And it's like, you know what? I've been in a party and Gemini had three girls in there he fucked with. Now, the crazy part is when we walk in the party, when we walk into the spot, they wasn't even alarmed. I'm like, bro, you got 3 of your joints in here. These ain't like just joints you call it. No, you fuck with these girls faithfully. Motherfucker act like ain't shit going on. Once I seen those 3 girls, once I seen them start communicating with each other, I said, oh, nah, this is some Gemini shit right here. This some Gemini shit right here. This some air sign shit right here. Got 3 joints, got 3 of your joints in the same spot, and they communicate, and they don't even know. They don't even fucking know. All I kept thinking is in my head is like, they're gonna all want to leave with you. The motherfucker got up out of there first. So I didn't see some Geminis pull off some shit. All right? I didn't see some Geminis pull off some shit. So Gemini, sit y'all curious, wanting to know everything ass down, get into a relationship, still want to know what dating that person might feel like. Still want to know what communicating with that person may feel like. Maybe, hey, I got into the relationship, it feel good, but maybe they make me feel better. Gemini, sit your ass down. All right? Yeah. Now, so that's the Mercury hitting the 7th house Lord. If it's a square or opposing the 7th house Lord, your ass finna be critiqued like a motherfucker in your relationships. Motherfuckers always got something to say about you in your relationships. Goodness gracious, your best friends, your coaches, your teachers, your parents. Everybody got an opinion about who the fuck you deal with, who you be around, relationships in your life. You may manifest that just being a Gemini, just being a Virgo, or having Venus in Gemini or Virgo, having Venus in a Mercury influenced sign. It's like, why people care so much about who I date? Like, I don't get that shit. It's 2022. Motherfuckers is dating whoever the fuck they want to date, but not with that Mercury making contact with your 7th house Lord. So if it's a square opposition, you're gonna experience the critique. You're gonna experience you might have some overly talkative ass motherfucking partners. Mercury making contact with the 7th house, it really don't matter if it's a sextile, trine, square, opposition. You finna manifest motherfuckers like me and talk too motherfucking much. I talk a lot on the internet though. When it's Netflix and chill time, I ain't saying shit. Feel me? So motherfucking Mercury, what else? If Mercury's squaring opposing, what other negative things can it bring here? You can manifest mentally unstable partners. Mentally unstable. You having to tell people in your, you always having to mentally stabilize, help ground people, settle people in your life. People a little bit too chaotic, a little bit too reckless in your life. You know, it's like, what the fuck? Every relationship, people that I meet in my life, niggas be mentally unstable. They're a little reckless, a little chaotic, you feel me? And that shit makes my relationships a little bit too chaotic and shit. So, that's something that's very important to understand with Mercury making negative contact. Does it count if my Lilith is in Gemini? Does what count exactly? What's going on out here? How you doing, baby? Yeah, I just need you to be more specific on that. Like, what do you mean exactly if your Lilith is in Gemini? Zodiac energy with Pluto and Scorpio in the 7th. Geminis are hard to deal with for me. Curiosity and openness. I like hidden things and commitment. Yeah, like I could relate to that, bro. Don't throw me your whole life story all at once. Let that shit build up a little bit. All right. Throwing me all that shit at once. What's wrong with you, woman? So yeah, the Mercury, that's basically the influence Mercury is going to bring from a negative perspective. Now, if Mercury's harmonizing with your 7th house, you can manifest some real smart ass individuals in your life. Even if they really talkative, even if it's a square opposition, you might still manifest some real smart, intelligent individuals in your life, informative, knowledgeable people into your life, sextile or trine. You're going to have a great way of processing your thoughts when it comes to things in relationships. So if you have Mercury, let's say your 7th house lord, back to that example, let's say Saturn, you are Cancer rising, you got Capricorn in the 7th house, Saturn. I'm not doing the houses, Chechi. I'm more so talking about the how the planets influence the 7th house lord. So let's say you have your Cancer rising, right? You got Capricorn in the 7th house. So Saturn is your 7th house ruler. Let's say Capricorn's in the 3rd house. So let's say Mercury is what we talking about, sextile. Let's say Mercury is sextiling your Saturn from the 1st house. You're going to manifest people outside that 1st house that is pretty informative, or you always going to be able to take experiences from your 1st house with your Mercury in the 1st house, because you got Mercury in the 1st house is always analyzing how people personally express themselves. It's always analyzing the individuality of others, you know. It's always analyzing people's personality. So you picking up that experience here, you're going to know how to bring that into your relationships. Wherever Mercury is at, sextile and trining, the information and the knowledge that it's picking up where it's at, you're going to be able to bring that into your relationship. So you're going to have a great grasp on dealing with people and communication in many different type of ways with Mercury in here. These are people that will find out things about you too. You think you finna hide your past from this individual? No, never that. When somebody got the moon, Pluto, Mars, Mercury making contact with the 7th house lord, they finna find out what the fuck you been doing before they met your ass. They finna fight. Mercury is information based. It's information based. They finna find that shit out. You feel me? So that's what you got. Mercury harmonizing with the 7th house lord is gonna bring here. That's what it's going to bring here, you know. It's going to be able to be, you know, pick up a lot of details with things dealing in relationships. These people are most likely going to be real harmonious communicators in their relationships. So they prevent a lot of things, a lot of issues in their relationship, because they got the gift of utilizing communication. They're able to analyze how other people's communication methods. So this what brings a lot of more harmony, or prevent, you know, issues and differences from scaling into other shit when you got Mercury harmonizing with the 7th house lord. All right. Now, Venus, man, harmonizing with the 7th house lord. Okay. So we know anything that Venus is making contact with, it's gonna love that energy. It's gonna like it. You know, it's gonna support it. If your Venus is making harmonious contact, let's talk about negative. If your Venus is squaring or opposing your 7th house lord, you may have negative ways of dealing with valuing your relationships, or you need to learn how to value your relationships in some type of shape or form. Venus is going to be you got Venus in one place, valuing whatever it's valuing, whatever sign or house you got it in. But the fact that it's squaring or opposing your 7th house lord is showing this lifetime you came in here to learn how to value your relationships, how to deal, how to be more discerning, picking partners and mates. All right. Venus playing a part with the 7th house lord should get tricky because Venus deal with like sex and sensuality, not sexuality, even though you could throw sex in there. Deals with all that feel good shit. So if you got Venus squaring or opposing your 7th house lord, you know, shit, you got to be careful that when you deal with people in your relationships, that you understand what is the value that's established here, because you'll find yourself, you know, clinging on to somebody or messing with somebody for the wrong reasons with Venus making squaring or opposing the 7th house lord. This is also going to show if you got Venus sextile squaring or opposing the 7th house lord, you may deal with partners that be unappreciative. You may deal with in your life at the workplace, your partners, you know, your friends, motherfuckers be unappreciative, or they sometimes are not thankful of certain things that you bring into their lives or the efforts you bring into relationships, you know. But it's a little sticky there, because if Venus is squaring or opposing the 7th house lord, you may feel like you unappreciated, but you might really be the one that lack effort. You may be the one that, you know, your love be elsewhere and it don't really be felt in the relationship, you know, because your Venus is in another sign valuing some whole other shit, you know. And when it comes into your relationship, your partner feels that lack of support, or your partner is going to pick up on how much your value is somewhere else, you know. So Venus is the 7th house lord. We look at the house and sign. The house is more important when we look at house lords. The sign is just going to show us how some things may be colored, or the temp or like a vibration that might be around that placement, but the house is important. All right. So Venus is your 7th house lord. You want to know what house Venus is in. Okay. Whatever house you have Venus is in is going to bring influences into your 7th house. Venus in the 7th. How do you know it squares or opposes? Well, you guys can use astrotheme.com. All right. Y'all can make an account. And when you click on planets, it'll show you all the aspects. So you click on your sun, it'll say sun opposing this, that, and the third, sun conjunct this, that, and the third. So you could just do it that way. Or if you have the squares and opposites are always the same modality, guys. So if somebody has the sun squaring, this energy is most likely going to be in the same modality, square each other. So Cancer, Capricorn, those, they opposite. Libra, Aries, they opposite. Libra, Cancer, they square each other. Cancer, Libra, they square each other. Aries, Cancer, they square each other. Those are all cardinal signs. So those are all opposites and squares. Same thing with the fixed signs, same things with the mutable signs. So if you got Venus in a fixed sign and you know you got other planets in fixed signs, you know, they may be squaring or opposing. And even if it ain't squaring or opposing, you know, you got Venus in this energy and then you got another planet in that other fixed sign. So it could still be friction, even if they're not making like, you know, even if they're not making direct friction with each other. All right. Venus trines my 7th house lord. So Venus trine now. Okay, let's get into harmonious energies with Venus hitting the house lord. So if you have Venus trining or sextiling the 7th house lord, you may be way more intuitive, establishing a support system in this lifetime. So you don't tolerate you don't tolerate being unappreciated, undervalued. You probably won't relate to that life. You won't, when your friend is talking about like, no, I do everything for this person, this, that, and the third, and like I don't know why I don't get my effort back. Or Venus harmonizing with the seventh house, they can't relate to that shit. They don't want to give in a pep talk like, you bugging the fuck out. You got way more self-worth than that, this, that, and the third. Because remember, Venus deal with self-esteem, deal with your value. So if you have it harmonizing with your seventh house Lord, your value is motherfucking established in the relationship. If anything, you probably manifest a lot of partners that they are very upfront about what they appreciate and value about you. With Venus harmonizing with the seventh house Lord, you can manifest reckless relationships. I don't want to say reckless, not the best word. You can manifest, a lot of just roller coasters in relationships because Venus bring a lot of support. You may have a lot of options. You may have a lot of experiences to connect, relate, share your energy, to the point you start feeling a little lost because you feel like, damn, I don't really have foundation in my life, in my love life. Venus influenced my relationship, my relationship life. So I could get intimacy. I could go on a date. I could Netflix and chill. But I want more substance here. So you got to be understanding of how you're not letting Venus just go crazy with her pleasures and what she like, where she love. And there's foundation built in the relationships. You feel me? That's very important there. So yeah, that's like Venus. That's Venus from a supportive, harmonious aspect, hitting the seventh house Lord. These niggas is tripping. My fault, yeah. I got the fucking Suns Mavericks game. They got players fighting in the back of the arena. I ain't never seen that shit before. Niggas got kicked out the game and started fighting in the back of the arena. This is Venus Aries. Niggas been wild in this eclipse season. So, and now y'all just be thinking, do Neptune and Mars, they are both my seventh house lords. Neptune and, now you only one of them could be your house lord. Sounds like a huge, only one of them could be your house lord. So whatever sign your seventh house starts in, that's the house lord. That's the house lord. All right. I got my seventh house starts in 20 degrees Cancer, but I got the whole Leo constellation in my seventh house. But my house lord is the moon, Now, so yes, that's Venus squaring, opposing that seventh house lord. You got to make sure you're learning how to, put your efforts into relationships and people that you do value this person. You got to show your value. You got to show your care. When it comes to any squares or oppositions with that moon, you got to make sure that, with that Venus, you got to make sure that, or opposite, excuse me, when it comes to sextiles and trines with that Venus, you got to make sure you're realistic and you're more stable with your relationship life, because you may manifest a lot of opportunities to connect with a lot of people, do a lot of shit, So, Venus could lose herself a little bit in that seventh house. You don't speak about that much with Venus and Libra, Venus in the seventh house. I got my brother Rostradamus in the building. Rakim, my lord, y'all tapping with my brother. I believe, bro, you just dropped the Astro course, right? I believe you just dropped the Astro course. So, if that's facts, y'all best to tap in. All right. So that's the Venus energies hitting your seventh house lord from a harmonious way or a way with friction. Now, Mars squaring, opposing your seventh house lord. Your partners may be motherfucking power and controlling. Actually, hold on. Before I go here, Venus harmonizing with your seventh house lord, you may also manifest some real understanding people in your life, supportive individuals in your life. And like I said, it's not gonna really be a gray area as to who values you or where your support is coming from when Venus is harmonizing. You know where it's coming from. You know who you can rely on and whatnot. Now, Mars squaring or opposing your seventh house lord. Partners can be forceful. Partners can be individual as a motherfucker, single-minded as a motherfucker, intense relationships. Your relationships can be, situations can be real intense and then fizzle out a lot of the times in your relationship. So big ass arguments and then It just fizzle out. Shit don't even mean shit the next day in a couple of hours. Big highs and lows, with Mars making contact in a square or opposition through the 7th house. Yes, more substance, Venus 7th house trine. I'm going through that now. Yep, you just take your time with that. That's all. That's all you got to do. That house that you got Venus in, keep pouring love into that house. The house Venus is in, keep pouring into that house. Keep exercising your value in the house. Keep filtering what you positively value in the house and what you negatively value in the house. I promise you, all of that is going to trickle into the partner you attract and what you experience in your relationship life. I promise you, So Mars squaring opposing that 7th house Lord, man. God damn it, it ain't no sugarcoating. Yes, you deal with intense partners, you deal with stubborn partners, you deal with transformation, a lot of transformation with your relationships. Sometimes you be passionate about working on this goal or this career aspiration, or you passionate about this area of your life, and then when it comes into your relationship, that area you passionate about be clashing with your relationship, and you be like, God damn, like, I'm passionate as fuck about this charity work I'm doing over here to stand at third. But damn, every time I get into relationships, that shit just fuck that should be fucking everything up with my relationships. You feel me? That should be fucking everything up. So you may deal with them type of energies with Mars squaring or opposing a 7th house Lord. Your partner may be real intense, they goddamn self. Your partner may be a bit selfish or a bit, once again, them Pluto energies we were talking about earlier. Your partner might be a little possessive, a little power and controlling. All right, it's hard. You the one teaching them how to compromise and shit. Now, if Mars is harmonizing with the 7th house Lord, for the most part, you're most likely gonna have a more assertive nature. You personally going to have more of an assertive nature dealing with relationships. You may not let as much shit rock that other individuals may rock in your relationship. Mars going to nip that shit in the bud if you got Mars sextiling, trining the 7th house Lord. If anything, you may be the one that's a bit forceful in relationships. You might be the one taking advantage of your power or your seduction or sex energies in the relationship to manipulate things the way you wanted to. You might do that shit if you got Venus too. Venus harmonized with the 7th house Lord, trying to sextile the 7th house Lord too. Y'all do that shit too. So that's Venus and Mars harmonizing with the 7th house Lord. Y'all both will motherfucking sexually seduce the shit out of somebody to manipulate a relationship. Mars and Venus will use them motherfucking energies. All right. And because it's a sextile or trine, you're going to be the one that's got the upper hand with it. If it was a square or opposition, that it might happen to you. People might be trying to do that to you. You got Venus, Mars squaring or opposing your 7th house. Every time you get into a relationship, motherfucker trying to seduce the fuck out of you. Your ass ain't got no bodily fluids every time y'all done. Ain't got no fluids is expired. You feel me? So now it builds a strong dependence on this motherfucker. Now this person starts becoming your fix. So you gotta be careful that shit with Venus and Mars making contact with your 7th house. Because if it ain't you jumping into them energies at times and having to look at yourself like, all right, this ain't my higher self, then you might be manifesting and attracting that. So you got to be able to just so you could put boundaries on that shit. Okay. But that Venus harmonizing with 7th house Lord, y'all know how to bring love and nurture to keep somebody in a certain space. You feel me? This motherfucker ain't going out with the boys tonight. I got a hot massage ready. I done made dinner. I'm gonna put the nurture spell on him. He ain't going nowhere tonight. The ladies, I knows what y'all be up to. All right. So that's like the Venus hitting that motherfucker. Now, Mars sextiling and trining, more assertive, more individual in the relationship. You make sure certain shit, you have boundaries in relationship. You can be the spicy, passionate, intense one in the relationship a lot of times, or you're manifesting partners that bring a certain sense of passion to your relationships. You feel me? All right. So that's important to understand there. It's just that once again, when you got the upper hand with Mars from the sextile and trine, you just gotta be careful how you the one being power and controlling, how you forcing things with your relationships. Okay, now Jupiter. Now Jupiter sextiling or trining, harmonizing with the 7th house Lord. It's gonna be a lot of relationship experiences. You may by the time you 21, you may be able to teach about relationships like a motherfucker with Jupiter hitting the 7th house Lord. You're going to develop some philosophies, and you may have a belief system surrounded around relationships. By the time you 18, 21, you got some morals, ethics, you got some standards, you got some guidelines about things in relationships. So Jupiter done develop motherfucking philosophies and beliefs around how they like to experience things in relationships. But we know Jupiter brings experiences and it gasses things up. It blows things up. So with it being making contact with your 7th house Lord, you're almost always manifesting experiences, to learn others. You're always manifesting experiences to learn yourself through others. It's gonna pop up in that house that you have Jupiter in a whole lot, not putting the pussy on the table. Hey, yo. So if you got the 7th house Aries, Mars is your house ruler. So you're gonna deal with that shit. You're gonna deal with that shit in relationships. With Jupiter hitting the 7th house Lord, you may also get if it's hitting it from a sextile trine, this may happen. You may experience what Venus hitting the 7th house Lord experience. You may experience a lot of quick relationships, or you don't know how to be single. Like Venus and Jupiter harmonizing with the 7th house Lord, y'all gotta learn how to be single. Y'all gotta learn. You don't always got to be dating somebody. You don't always got to be texting somebody. Always got to be talking to somebody. A lot of y'all subconscious and y'all psyches, it feels cluttered because you haven't experienced this in a minute now. So you haven't been in a serious relationship for a while, but there's always somebody on your heels. There's always somebody you finna text, connect to, go on a date with, this, that, and the third. And over time, it starts feeling like, damn, I do all this connecting, but it's empty. I could have just been building on more of a relationship with myself right now. That's more fulfilling. So, you got to be conscious about that. That's how can I stay local with Venus square Mars? Just make the choice. Thank you. How can I stay loyal with Venus square Mars? If you having problems staying loyal, if you having issues staying loyal, that's more so of a how much do you really fuck with somebody type of thing, and how realistic you're being with somebody. If you have issues staying loyal, your partner should know that. That's where I'm at in my life. You feel me? So if you're dealing with somebody and you might have to deal with somewhat of an alternative relationship, or your ass can't be loyal, or you're entertained by a lot of things outside the relationship, all you're doing is keeping yourself in a jail, and then not really being transparent with another individual, when all you could really do is communicate, your transparency to somebody. You'll know how they're going to react to that shit. You're probably thinking about scenarios of how they're going to react. You don't really know. You don't know how they're going to react to it. And then if the relationship terminates, it terminates. But guess what? You just got closer to being in a relationship where you don't got to be in jail, or you going to feel like you got to be loyal, this, that, and the third. But you got to understand, the things that we want the things that we may seek in our relationships, we got to be able to want that shit back too, So I'm not saying if you're a guy and you're into polygamy and you got 3 girlfriends, I'm not saying that just because you got 3 girlfriends, they need to be able to have 3 boyfriends. I'm just saying, just know that if you put that energy out there, you can't. That's just how universe works. It can't be so unexpected when they start feeling like, all right, let's branch off. I want to experience something outside of this relationship. That's how it be, y'all. That's how it be a lot of the times, shit be a little crazy. So you gotta be relationships ain't nothing to force. Don't get into it if you feel shaky about being loyal or committed. I'd rather miss out on that opportunity instead of forcing myself to try to be something I know I can't be, something I'm sweating to be and shit. I'm forcing myself not to look at DMs. I'm forcing myself not to flirt with this chick. No, I'm sorry. If you ain't got it in your system, man, don't do it to don't do it to somebody, man. Just chill, just relax. Relax. Do some soul searching. All right. So that's so Jupiter, yes, Jupiter can bring a lot of shit going on when it comes into your relationships. You can meet partners from different places, man. You meet people. You get people always introducing you to other people with Jupiter conjunct the seventh house lord. You always meeting other people through people Jupiter harmonizing with that seventh house lord. You can manifest a lot of teacher mentor like relationships, or you being a real student, you teaching a lot in your relationships, or you, if the Jupiter is hitting the seventh house lord from a harmonious angle, that may be what you have a lot of knowledge and wisdom about. That may be what you have a lot of knowledge and wisdom about. Shit, dealing with relationships. Because if Jupiter is making contact with the seventh house lord, what you experience in relationships, Jupiter is always building a belief system out of that shit. Jupiter is always building a new philosophy out of that relationship experience. So if Jupiter is constantly doing that, now you have somebody that got certain belief systems or got certain experience or whatnot, or they done decipher things with relationships in their head to the point, they have a bigger, broader understanding of things dealing with relationships. Now they could coach you. Now they could teach you. They can help you to prevent certain things with Jupiter there. All right. Now, if Jupiter is clashing with this motherfucker, there's going to be things that your karma is going to be very quick in relationships. So when you know better in relationships and you don't do better, that shit manifests, you'll manifest situations that kind of get you on point pretty quick. They're gonna manifest situations that get you on point with your relationship pretty quick. Jupiter's gonna put you in situations. Jupiter gonna put you in situations where it's gonna make you look in the mirror and question, like, all right. Let me get serious about this shit. This relationship. I'm just floating in this motherfucker. I'm just acting like this shit just gonna float into la la land. Let me be more intentional, or let me be more wise about what I'm doing with this person, my existence with this person mean in my life. Jupiter squaring or opposing the seventh house lord is gonna put you in situations where you're gonna understand you're gonna understand the significance of sharing time and energy with people instead of just having situationships, or just sooner or later you're gonna get to a point with Jupiter squaring opposing that seventh house lord where it's like, man, I have to have way more discernment with who I connect to. I have to be wiser with who I connect to, how I connect to people. Getting into relationships or doing things with people with no real meaning behind it, with no reasoning behind it. You just doing things with people, or you just making agreements with people just to make agreements with people. You committing yourself to things with other people without really understanding what you're getting into. Like Jupiter gonna have you going through some lessons in relationships, and a lot of them just gonna be like, we could have prevented this because this was some knowledge you already had about this situation. I don't know why you just went into the relationship all blindly and shit. You feel me? This Jupiter is very karmic, man. When you start talking about Jupiter and the motherfucking generational planets, very karmic. All right, very karmic. What else? Jupiter, anything squaring Jupiter, squaring or opposing Jupiter is something that you have to learn how to expand upon. So if you got Jupiter squaring or opposing your seventh house lord, there's going to be times in your relationships you may want to put a plug on some shit. No, can't do that. You got to learn how to have some heart-to-heart communication. You got to learn, you're going to be put in situations to really understand the subconscious with somebody else through your connection. You can't just bail on motherfuckers because Jupiter gotta extract the lesson out of it. So that makes situations worse. Trying to bail out of situations with Jupiter squaring opposing your seventh house lord. You not taking accountability at times could bite you in your ass with Jupiter squaring opposing the seventh house lord here. So yeah, you can get into a lot of bullshit. Not being consciously aware of what you're doing in relationships. And if you know better, you do better in relationships, period. If you got Jupiter harmonized with the seventh house lord, you're the one that will get an STD quicker than anybody else that you know, because you knew better. You know not to be having raw sex with just anybody. You will manifest that shit quicker than other people. You'll get somebody pregnant quicker than other people in your life. With Jupiter it's like that type of shit. It ain't no joke when it's next to like relationship energies. All right. constantly learning about how your interactions with other people manifest certain results into your life. So this is why these people may become like relationship coaches or have a lot of insight on things dealing with relationships, because if that Jupiter is square and opposing their 7th house lord, who knows what they learned dealing with relationships? Who knows what they had to learn and experience dealing with interacting with others, you know? So that's the best. That's for every Jupiter's. Look at your Jupiter placement, period. Anything Jupiter squaring or opposing in your chart, you're gonna play out a lot of I knew better situations with that energy. Understand that. You know, anything that Jupiter is squaring or opposing in your chart is going to be a planet that you most likely, you know, are gonna have a strong intuition or some knowledge on how to deal with it. And you got to make sure that you apply yourself. You got to make sure if you know better, you do better with Jupiter squaring or opposing that planet. All right. That's the reason you have Jupiter squaring or opposing that planet. You here to show universe and yourself that you know how to utilize a certain form of wisdom or experience that you have. But it's squaring. It's the opposite. So you may not, react to that form of knowledge and wisdom as much. You got it, but you don't use it. So, look at the house that you have Jupiter and what's the name in. So if you have Jupiter in the 10th house, right? Quick example. Let's say you got Jupiter in the 10th house, okay? And let's say your Jupiter is squaring opposing planets from the 7th house or the 1st house. There's going to be things in your 7th and 1st house you're supposed to be learning how to use in your 10th house. There's supposed to be things in that planet that Jupiter in the 10th house is squaring in the 7th house, things dealing with relationships in the 7th house or whatnot. You're supposed to be learning how to apply that into your 10th house. There's going to be a lot of situations when it comes to your career, the social status you're trying to build with Jupiter in your 10th house, that friction, that square to that planet in the 7th house, it's going to be like, yo, we experienced that with this planet in the 7th house. We can use that right now in the 10th house. We can use that wisdom right now in the 10th house. We can use this gift or talent or this form of awareness dealing with relationships in our 10th house right now. And those are going to be the times you got to be able to be, embrace utilizing what you know, the experience that you have. All right. So that's motherfucking Jupiter squaring opposing the 7th house lord. Shit could get crazy really quick. Yes, that's the planet of luck, optimism, but you play yourself. You will super play yourself, not being cautious or wise with the way you interact with individuals. This may be a placement. I'm about to start looking deeper into this shit, actually, now that I think about it. This placement, to me, if you got squares or oppositions to your Jupiter from the 7th house lord, that could indicate a lot of relationship karma. If when Saturn and Jupiter making contact with this motherfucker and moving on next, Saturn. All right. Now, we know Saturn is a very karmic energy. So if Saturn is harmonizing, now let's start with the squares. If Saturn is squaring or opposing your 7th house lord, if it has friction with your 7th house lord, you need to learn how to be more disciplined and more realistic with your relationships in this lifetime. Period. You may not handle relationship situations in your life with discernment. You may not handle them realistically. You may not take your time with relationships. If you have Saturn opposing or squaring that 7th house lord, you need to learn how to take your time with relationships. Ain't nothing really healthy or fruitful finna manifest in your relationship life. You rushing things, you trying to force ideals or plans among your partner. No, you have to build a timely rapport with somebody. If you have this alignment, think about the times that you did try to force something with somebody. That shit went to shit with Saturn squaring or opposing your 7th house lord. Is North Node in my 7th house karmic? North Node, whatever house you got, the North Node is going to be a karmic house. All right. So for the most part, North Node in the 7th house shows that this is a lifetime for you to embrace dealing with relationships, and it may play out in all levels. Understanding how to cooperate with friends, understanding how to balance and mediate in your relationships, understanding how to compromise. These may be some of the most toughest things for you to do with North Node in the 7th house, because your South Node is in the 1st house. So what you're spiritually familiar with and used to is being an individual, doing things on your own. You may not like doing group projects. You may not like doing things with people, especially Fashion Skunk, especially if you have a lot of more individual placements. So if you have like a strong Mars, if you have a lot of planets in your 1st house, you know, this is going to make this even harder. It's going to make this even harder having to deal with others, deal with relationships. North Node in the 7th house, y'all always pushed into situations to deal with people y'all don't want to deal with, you know. You got to work with that motherfucker. You got to do that college project with that motherfucker you don't really like, or they're weird and awkward. You wanted to work with your friend, but you got assigned to work with this weird motherfucker. Then at work, you got to deal with another motherfucker you don't like. The boss don't know y'all don't like each other. Y'all almost fought last week, but y'all got to work with each other and shit, you know. The group wants to go do some shit that you want to do by yourself. The group is forcing you to be a part of the group. Shit like that with the North Node in the 7th house. South Node is in Leo. Okay. Ooh. North Node in the 7th house in Aquarius. Oh, yeah. The groups definitely be forcing shit on your ass. You can't even motherfucking have your own opinion when you do something within the team. Anything you do with a team or group, motherfucking, you can't even have your own opinion with some shit. North Node in Aquarius in the 7th house. You is motherfucking constant. You constantly, damn. This NBA player had a fractured bone in his face, and he had to play with the mask, and then he got hit in the face again. God damn. Guess that's why they get paid millions. So, you know, you got that motherfucking in the you listen. And you got that South Node in Leo. Oh boy. You got the South Node in Leo in the 1st house. So there's going to be a lot of times you might clash with people in your partnerships or in your group environments because you feel like the shit that you personally, the strong visions you personally have, that strong Leo rising conviction you have, that vision, that personal outlook about something that you get excited about, you know, or just your individuality, period. That shit be too strong for the group or partnerships at time. And now you gotta, it almost feel like you gotta condense your energy at times. That's why you want to do shit by yourself. It's like I see shit the way I personally see it, and then people throw a lot of logic at you. Yeah, that should just get deep. That should get deep. North Node in the 7th house. But your ass gotta learn how to deal with cooperation. You're gonna have to learn how to deal with some, you know, some group work in this lifetime, some partnerships in this lifetime. You know, some of your most fruitful relationships may have big lessons of compromise with them. You know, it's almost like North Node in the 7th house. The people that love you the most, or you love and care about the most, they want you to compromise. Like they ask for big compromises here. So you're put in position where you usually want to do things on your own. North Node in the 7th house. I mean, yeah, South Node in the 1st house, North Node in the 7th house. But then you actually manifest situations where the people you actually care about, you actually love, they expect shit from you. This and the third is like, and if I don't do this shit with them, they're gonna think I don't fuck with them, or I don't love them as much as they love me. I don't care about them as much as they care about me. So shit like that. So if Saturn doing anything to the 7th house Lord, so Saturn, dog, you mad funny, yo. She said, so if Saturn not doing anything to your 7th house Lord, you Gucci, right? Yo, dog, I can feel your spirit laughing from here. Oh shit, that was funny. Yeah, you Gucci. Saturn. So Saturn squaring or opposing that seven house lord. Damn, it's 1 a.m. That's how that shit gonna play out. That's how that shit gonna play out. You got to enforce time into your relationships. You got to be patient dealing with people here. You have to learn how to cooperate, building things with people here. Now, if it's a harmonious energy, if Saturn is sextiling or trining the seventh house lord, like I said, Saturn loves the seventh house. That's where it's exalted at. So this person is going to be real intuitive when it comes to restricting and limiting who they connect and what environments or groups they're a part of. They're going to have a strong sense of discernment here. Strong sense of discernment here. You know, this is the person that, this is the athlete that they're about to go to the NBA and they're getting a bunch of different deals from Adidas and Nike and they gonna take their time to get the best motherfucking sneaker deal. They're not gonna just rush into like, oh, let me just sign with Nike. Everybody sign with Nike. They give me the most money. Like, no. Saturn harmonized with that seventh house lord when it puts itself in a position to connect to another entity, to another party, to relate with somebody else, or to build a union or partnership with somebody else. These individuals is finna take their time analyzing and understanding the whole situation. You ain't finna rush them when it comes to partnerships and agreements and business ideals. So this is where they gifted at. But if it's a square opposition, this is what they gotta learn to do. They gotta learn to be more disciplined with relationships. They may have to learn how to be more sexually disciplined. All right. So that's Saturn there. Now Neptune squaring or opposing your seventh house lord. This is you learning how to be more understanding and compassionate and deal with the subconscious in your relationship. You might be too real. Well, it really depends where the house lord is at, but Neptune deals with the subconscious, the collective, you know, the feel of the collective, the vibration of the collective, the subconscious and the vibration emotions of others. All right, deal with spirituality, deal with compassion, deal with understanding, deal with, you know, it's the higher octave of Jupiter. So we're diving into spiritual essence here. You know, we're diving into things dealing with you know, the astral realm and whatnot. Things now we're getting outside of the body. We ain't really dealing with reality when we're talking about Neptune. It get real dreamy. We're dealing with the imagination. So with this energy, so what you I'm Gucci. So you got everybody in the chat talking about they Gucci and shit. But you know, with Neptune squaring or opposing the seventh house lord, you may be put in positions where you have to learn how to be more compassionate, more understanding. You might manifest situations where you dealt with somebody and they were mad, sacrificial, and understanding with you. And then when it was time for you to be in that position, your ass didn't reciprocate that shit. And now you start feeling fucked up because you know damn well it didn't hurt you to be more understanding or show a little bit more love or support or actually learn how to compromise and be more sacrificial in that sense. You might have took. You know, you might have been on some gimme shit in previous lifetimes with relationships. And now with Neptune squaring or opposing the seventh house lord, you know, you're here to learn how to work with others, cooperate with others, understand others. With this alignment, you may manifest situations in your life where you do a complete 180 with relationships. When you was 18 and 21, you know, you was in it for your pleasures, your experiences. You know, that's more so of a sextile or trine. However, it can't play out with the square opposition. You can manifest either way. Neptune is making contact with your seventh house lord. You can manifest some dreamy ass relationships, you know, relationships that take you to la la land, people that play on your temptations, things that you like to keep you in a certain space or whatnot, or just, you know, real blissful, real pleasurable relationships, you know. So you got to be careful of how much you stay content with experiencing that without understanding the root of your relationship. Then if it's Neptune is squaring or opposing the seventh house lord, you can be highly unrealistic about what's going on in your relationship. You can be highly unrealistic about what's going on in your relationship. So Neptune squaring opposing that seventh house lord, it has to learn how to deal with you're gonna have to learn how to build more of a rapport with people that you connect with, because this is another placement where you jumping into things in relationships, You just jumping into them, not knowing where you going, just for the thrill of it, just for the feel of it, because it feel good. This and the third, not having no real direction or understanding about what's going on in a relationship. That could lead into a whole lot of shit with Neptune here. Remember, we're talking about the more karmic generational planets now. So if you got these energies squaring and opposing your relationship energies, now you have more long-term energies, long-term lessons to learn here. So Neptune's constantly putting you in a space to be possibly more giving in your relationships. So if you got this alignment, if you got Neptune squaring opposing your 7th house and you feel like you need to give more in your relationships, yeah, your spirit talking to you, your intuition is talking to you. Your ass do need to give some more. You do need to listen some more. You do need to be more understanding. You feel me? If you got Neptune square and opposing the 7th house lord, your partner might be, your partner you might manifest some, I don't want to say, you might manifest some super sacrificial individuals here. You might manifest individuals that they're willing to really compromise with you for a lot of things and whatnot. They're real sacrificial when it comes to you with Neptune harmonizing with that 7th house lord. And it can almost put you in a position where you can manipulate the situation, but that's not what you're supposed to be learning here. That's just going to manifest some crazier karma. You need to make sure with that Neptune squaring or opposing that 7th house lord that you're understanding. You take your time in relationships. You need to understand the subconscious of another individual. So if you're dating somebody, if you're trying to get to know somebody, and they just told you they got out of an abusive relationship, this and the third, like, you're gonna have to understand the roots of somebody when you're connecting to them, because y'all can manifest situations where once again, Neptune is squaring and opposing your 7th house lord. So you may not be that understanding in the relationships. And then it may get to a point where somebody's dealing with a certain sense of trauma or, some energy that they brought into your relationship, and you ain't take time to understand that about them. And now you acting like this shit is a responsibility. Motherfucker, you wasn't trying to find out shit about what the fuck they experienced. We in our 20s, we in our 30s. We had some type of experience. We've been through something in life, and you just ain't care. You was just la 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 la. So no, this is you not embracing the understanding, the connection, the relatability. Neptune is a relatable planet. It has an emphasis on the collective. It's a relatable planet. Okay, so so 7th house lord or someone was rolling the 7th house, and I have Aquarius in the 7th house, 2 rulers. I'm lost. What's your rising sign? Whatever your rising sign is, fashion skunk, whatever your rising sign is, the opposite of that sign, whatever planet rules the opposite of that of your rising sign, that's your 7th house lord. So let's say you a Leo rising. That would make your 7th house lord, your 7th house Aquarius by default. That's the opposite sign. So Saturn is your 7th house ruler. All right. Just tell me what your rising sign is, since I see you a little lost with the 7th house placement. So that's the Neptune in this motherfucker. Now Neptune is okay. Leo rising. So Saturn. Saturn's your 7th house lord. So you want to know what house Saturn is in? The house Saturn is in, it's bringing a lot of them influences into your relationship. The house Saturn is in is where you deal with a lot of compatibility, dealing with others, relatability, dealing with others, where there's possible soulmate potential here. And when you click on Saturn, now you're going to see what planets are making contact with your Saturn in either a harmonious or negative way, and if it's negative, you'll know what area that planet is coming from. You'll know the energy of it, and you'll know the area is coming from. Saturn, the bitch. I'm citing you. Saturn in the 11th. Okay. So your twin flame soulmate potential. A lot of the most fruitful relationships you probably manifested in your life was with people that you ain't even really know like that. You probably developed a lot of relationships through environments you was unfamiliar with. You probably developed a lot of fruitful social media. You probably got a lot of healthy internet social media relationships that probably turned into real life fruitful relationships. You might have met a lot of people that you connected with on an intimate level, or people that you dated in significant relationships off of social media. You may have met your partner with met partners, or a lot of your fruitful relationships with things dealing with group work environment. Group work, teamwork, something in the company, anything dealing with some type of group teamwork or something. That be anytime you in that type of energy, by default, you already, the soulmate might be somewhere there, twin flame might be somewhere dancing, swimming over there. By default. All right, by default. You're welcome, Dawn. Peace. So that's how that's Neptune. So if Neptune is sextiling or harmonizing, right? If Neptune is sextiling or harmonizing with the seventh house, you're gonna manifest very understanding individuals in your life. You got to make sure not to take advantage of these individuals, because it's gonna sting when you have a real genuine person in your life you took advantage of. You wasn't understanding of them, and now you did. When that person ain't there, you don't realize how much you miss it till it's gone. Neptune harmonizing with that seventh house lord, man, you're gonna have some creatively you're gonna have some inspiring ass partners that get you. They want you to invest in your dreams and your goals. The way they deal with their creativity might be inspiring. They're real nurturing of your imagination. You got Neptune harmonizing with the seventh house lord. Your partner may become your fucking therapist. You may come out of a turmoil, a situation with turmoil, and your partner or the people you attract, they real understanding of the subconscious. They bringing some therapeutic ass energies into your life. You manifest people who know how to listen. You manifest people that know how to motherfucking listen, let you get some shit out or whatnot, or very understanding of the things that you went through in the subconscious with Neptune here. You may manifest a lot of teachers here. You may manifest a lot of teachers and mentors. A lot of your relationships you may have got put on about shit dealing with spirituality before 18 years old, with the seventh house lord making contact with motherfucking Neptune. It may not have took that long for somebody in high school or something to tell you some shit about spiritual, tell you some shit about something. But I also got to start, I don't know, she acts like we've been knowing each other. Man, listen, social media is a crazy place, man. Social media is a crazy place. So you got that going on with motherfucking what's her name, with Neptune harmonizing with the seventh house lord. You feel me? The thing here is, a lot of the people you associate yourself with could get you into a lot of stupid shit. So your Neptune deal with, like I said, Neptune's your imagination, dreams is all adventurous and whatnot. So you got Neptune by your seventh house lord. You may manifest people in your life that they distract, they take you away from things dealing with reality or the relationship, or this partnership it plugs you out of reality in some type of shape or form. When you connect with this person, you lose a sense of reality. So it's a harmonious relationship, but that's Neptune. Neptune just makes things extra dreamy, extra blurry. You could get a little lost, confused dealing with Neptune energies. So you always want to have a grasp of reality in your relationships here. All right. So basically, I have to look at all the other planets that are making contact with Jupiter. Yep. So that's Jupiter. And then Pluto and Uranus. Pluto squaring or opposing the seventh house lord, you will manifest, like I said, possibly possessive partners, possibly motherfucking aggressive, forceful partners, possibly your relationships go through a lot of transformations. Your relationships, you got to be careful not to burn bridges out this motherfucker if you got Mars square opposing your seventh house lord. The things you passionate about could clash with because Pluto does deal with your passions too. So the things you're passionate about can motherfucking clash with relationship ideals and pursuits here. Pluto in the seventh house, you have to learn if Pluto squaring or opposing your seventh house lord, you got to make sure that when you get out of a relationship, that you understand what needs to be transformed about you. You have to understand that if you have Pluto squaring or opposing your seventh house lord, when a friendship ends, when a relationship ends, you need to be very conscious as to what about that relationship is supposed to help you transform, change, or shed an old part of yourself. Now, if Pluto's harmonizing with the seventh house lord, you're going to manifest individuals that you may be able to do a lot of long-term work with. You may be able to manifest a lot of people in your life that support things dealing with your passions or your long-term goals and intentions. When you got Pluto harmonizing with the seventh house lord, you deal with transmutation or transformation in relationships way better than others. If anything, you're able to have a real optimistic outlook on transformation in relationships and how your relationships transformed you. Very optimistic outlook on these things if Pluto is harmonizing with the seventh house lord. Man, listen, retrograde ain't no joke, man. I told you earlier, I almost hit somebody up, told them I missed them today. Retrograde energies, they kick it in quick, y'all. They kick it in quick. This is just day one. Hold it down, y'all. Day two tomorrow. But so yeah, that's Pluto. And then last but not least, Uranus. Now, look, Uranus influences transformation. And what's the difference between Uranus and Pluto? Because they both deal with transformation. So Pluto deals with transformation through the pursuit of long-term goals and journeys. Pluto deals with shedding desires, transformation, transforming your desires, raising heavy energies into higher lights, raising heavy negative energies and transmuting it into something you're passionate about, right? Or something you're invested in the long term. Now, when you look at Uranus more so is not really dealing with your desires. It's dealing with transformation, but it's trying to gain power. Uranus is trying to gain power, so that wherever Uranus at in your chart, you may always want to try to gain power here. With Uranus, it influences your individuality, right? But it's a very rebellious energy. So if you have Uranus squaring or opposing your seventh house lord, you may manifest some real individual partners. You may manifest some real stubborn individuals here too. So Uranus, Pluto, Mars, those three planets squaring or opposing the seventh house lord can manifest some stubborn partners. The sun too. All right. So you got to be careful that with Uranus in the seventh house, you got to know that your relationships, they go through a lot of changes. They're going to go through a lot of changes and transformations. So this is why, for one, you best to have discernment who you're dealing with Uranus squaring or opposing your seventh house lord. When you get into relationships with Uranus, this is probably the most important thing to understand about Uranus opposing or squaring the seventh house lord. When you get into relationships and your individuality is non-existent, right? Your individuality is non-existent. Your personal views about shit do not matter in this relationship. Uranus will cause some transformative ass situations to get you to get the fuck out of there. So Uranus is always going to manifest. If you got Uranus squaring opposing the seventh house lord, you're going to manifest a lot of situations dealing with people that push you to be more of an individual. You feel me? So yes, this placement can manifest some possessive partners, some power and controlling partners as well here too. All right. And relationships can go kind of real fast here. Uranus is a generational planet. It moves slow, but Uranus is trying to gain power and transform things. So at times it could be a little impulsive, a little chaotic, a little unexpected. Okay, so this is why Uranus is definitely an energy squaring opposing the seventh house. So you want to take your time with. You want to understand the intention of the person you're dealing with, because if you got Pluto or Uranus squaring opposing the seventh house lord, people could try to use you and take advantage of you a lot of times. That's just what it is. Pluto kind of could take advantage of things. It deals with its heavy desires, and then Uranus wants to gain power and control. So these two planets opposing or squaring your seventh house lord, this is what you have to learn when it comes to the people that you may attract and energies in your relationships. You got to be careful dealing with power and control issues in your relationships. You not being the power and controlling one, and you nipping shit in the bud or addressing shit and asserting yourself in a relationship when you feel like you're dealing with power and control issues, that's very important. That's very important here. Okay. Also, you have to make sure that now if Neptune is harmonizing with the seventh house lord, right? If Neptune is, not Neptune, if Uranus is harmonizing with the seventh house lord, now this is an individual that they're gonna know how to bring transformation. All right, great. Happy to have you. This is gonna be an individual that is very they're gonna be assertive. Their individuality, they have the gift of making sure their individuality is recognized in the relationship. They know how to, they find a lot of times Uranus harmonizing with the seventh house lord. This is the individual that's gonna manifest connecting to that group, that tribe, or that person that harmonizes with the shit that's different about you. You feel me? With the shit that's individual about you. So, what's different about me, I'm into spirituality and astrology and shit. That's what's different about me, I guess. If I had that alignment, you feel me? Oh, shit, actually, my seventh house lord is the moon, and my moon conjunct Uranus. So I naturally attract people in my life that's into the different shit that I'm into personally. But my Uranus is in the 12th house. So when it comes into my belief systems, when it comes into what I spiritually believe in and shit, I don't have to go on questing journeys. I'm naturally in a space where I attract people that share a lot of my beliefs, share a lot of the things I look at with spirituality, look at the matrix the way I look at that shit, this, and the third. I don't be having to break shit down like that with religion, this, and the third when I deal with people in my relationships. So if you have Uranus harmonizing with your seventh house lord, this is what you may experience a lot of the time. You could have a negative relationship with your family members, but the people you attract in your relationships, they mad supportive of the shit that your family don't like. They mad supportive of the shit that your family think you're a black sheep with. So that's how Uranus, that's a really nice energy to have hitting the seventh house lord from a harmonious aspect, And all of these, when you got all these energies, I should have said this in the fucking beginning, but all the energies that's opposing or squaring your seventh house lord, over time, they can manifest situations as if they're harmonizing with the seventh house lord. So it's all about you learning from the lessons here, okay? But yeah, Uranus and that motherfucker, you're going to have partners that support your individuality. You're going to attract individual partners. So what you got going on individually, they're most likely not going to cling on to what you got going on or try to be under your arm. They may come into the relationship with something that they really value individually, and that could be real healthy for the relationship. So the two parties have something that they could deal with when they're not connecting with each other, and then boom. That's how I like my relationships. That's how I like my shits. Don't fucking text me all fucking day. We slept with each other last night. We woke up with each other this morning. What are you texting me for? What are you calling me for? That shit might sound petty and toxic to you, but I'm sorry. That's reality to me. I come home to you. We sleep with each other and shit. We take showers and eat dinner with each other. What are you texting me for? Can I live my life? I'm coming to you at 8 o'clock tonight. I'm finna come to you 9 o'clock tonight. I ain't trying to talk to you all day. Let a motherfucker miss your ass. Shit. And if it's a conjunction, if the reason conjunctions, y'all want to look at that as planets that's harmonizing with it. But like I said, conjunctions you want to look at them as the planets harmonizing, but they can turn into squares. They can build friction. So it's like I said, okay, my seventh house lord is the moon. My moon is conjunct Uranus. So it's harmonizing. Uranus is conjunct with the moon. They're in the same space. They're harmonizing with each other. So when I deal with my relationships, for the most part, my black ass is the one that's probably a bit power and controlling or has a strong sense of individuality and how I want things conducted in the relationship. But at the same time, that bitch can turn negative as hell if I take that energy too far. Now I could deal with a lot of power control issues in my relationships. I could deal with transformation. I could deal with somebody that's like, okay, nigga, you think I'm gonna listen to you? Oh no, what you said, babe? What you want? But in their head, they're like, all right. 6 months later, I don't know what the fuck I done got myself into. I got myself into the most pettiest, toxic, dark, power and controlling relationship in my goddamn life because I took advantage of a planet that was harmonizing or complementing my 7th house lord. All right. So that's how that plays out. All right. Can we have at least something? Right. Can we have something to talk about when I get to the crib? Damn. I don't even got nothing to say to you when I get to the crib because we've been talking all day. Y'all know that post that says how you go the whole day not talking to your significant other? Like, how does you go the whole day not texting your significant other? Man, when I be seeing that post and I see people like and comment that shit, I was like, y'all couldn't date me. You couldn't date me. You couldn't fucking date me. And the type shit I be on when I'm fucking with somebody, you know, I'm not going to have all the shit that I'm dealing with in my life come into that, you know, interrupt that time. So our time is our time. But when it ain't our time, that's my time, shorty. So that all that calling me, texting me shit, you sending me 1,000 fucking posts on Instagram all day, every day. It's like, yo, I feel like I ain't never fucking leave your ass yet. God damn. That's that little shit like that be fucking relationships up. People don't even be knowing. Little shit like that. And then when the person try to tell you like, yo, babe, like, can we like cut down communication a little bit, you know, when I leave the crib and I go about the day and whatnot. And if you don't know how to take that, advice, it's like, oh man. Like, oh man. House Lord, Moon opposing House Lord, Moon, 7 opposing Uranus, and I've had these two. Okay, a Gemini trait. Uranus square ascendant. So, a lot of the times, wherever Uranus is at, most likely it's in the 10th house or the 4th house, right? Okay, so yeah, Uranus opposing the MC. So you got Uranus in the 10th house. So you go through a lot of power control issues in your 10th house because there's a lot of things you may have strong individual beliefs for or strong, unique business pursuits in the 10th house, individual business pursuits, maybe even entrepreneurial like pursuits, or even with Uranus in 10th house, the shit you do in career ain't no regular shit, some whole other shit. But your personality has to learn how to adjust to these things at times. All right. Your personality has to learn anything squaring the ascendant is something your personality needs to learn to adjust to, or something that, you know, the way you personally look at the world has to adjust to how you deal with that energy. So Uranus in the 10th house, by default, our first house, everybody, it don't matter what energies you have in your first house or your 10th house. By default, our first house, it naturally squares the 10th house. So we have to learn how to take our personality and make it, you know, stabilize it in some type of shape or form in the 10th house. How do we take our personality and the things we've gained a reputation for and notoriety for in the 10th house? How do we use that to create some form of stability, some form of structure? How do we use how we're known to create some stability? So that's what we're all learning how to do in some type of shape or form. But if you got Uranus in the 10th house, you know, you're going to go through a lot of changes and transformations fighting for what you individually want to establish in the 10th house. And that personality, depending on what your ascendant is, your ascendant got to know how to use his personal gifts or whatnot, or his personal outlook, you know, to either be more expressive in the 10th house, to be more relatable in the 10th house. With Uranus square the ascendant, you also could deal with a lot of situations where changes in career have a big influence on how you personally express yourself or personally conduct yourself, you know. But guys, I'm all out of gas. I didn't think we were going to do, Boro hit you with the do not disturb. You goddamn right. I didn't think I was going to do 3 hours. Okay. But we did it. We got through these. I feel good because I wanted to get through these today. All right. I'm going to work on shortening these times. So, you know, so it could be easier doing timestamps or whatnot. But, that's what we got going on, family. Tomorrow, I want to talk about a couple of things. I want to talk about Jupiter and Aries. I want to pull up some examples with celebrities. Let's look at their 7th house lords and see how things play out in the chart. Matter of fact, yeah, let me not do that right now because that's going to be a whole nother half an hour. All right. Yeah, I'm a Capricorn moon. All right. So, that's what we're going on. It's 1 a.m. It's 1:30. Goddamn. I love y'all. Good night, everybody. All right. Don't let the good night. Don't let the retrograde bugs bite. I know. I'm corny. I'm corny. I'm sorry. I had to get that one out. But y'all be easy, man. that moon is entering what's the name tomorrow too, y'all. So that moon entering Libra tomorrow. So we getting closer and closer to that motherfucking. We getting closer and closer to that goddamn what's the name? To that full moon. All right, guys. Until next time. Peace.